Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 254 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Shoo-doop, 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 shoo-doop. Yeah. Today, recording day is Friday. Yes, it is. Friday. TGIF. Thank God I'm fabulous. Darlings. November 17th, 2023. And it is going to be a nice autumn day here at the Beaver Lodge. Again, temperatures up to 10 degrees Celsius, which has been the case for the last 2 days. It's going to dip. Yep, it's going to dip, though, over the weekend. But judging by the leaves on the tree, it's a windy day. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver, and with me, as always, looking, I don't say I will say pretty, but very, 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 very nice and pink is our dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And yes, that pause is because I did forget for about a second what it was I was going to say. And before we go any further, let's say hello, good morning to Mr. Grizzly and ask, how's your mental health doing today, sir? I'm guessing if you're wearing bright pink, that you must be in a good mood.
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. And yes, you are correct. I am in a good mood. Had a pretty good night's sleep. Pretty good night's sleep. Feeling good. And yeah, it's been unbelievably warm lately, but it's like cold in the morning, but it's been like 10, 11 degrees the last few days. I'm like, I work from home today, but going into the office yesterday, it's like 0. When I look at the forecast, it'll be 10. So it's like, I'll put on a couple layers, but when I'm walking home, it's like, what am I don't know. I don't know how to dress right now.
It's really weird. It's really weird.
It's unseasonably warm.
We are past the half point of November now.
Yes.
I'm expecting to have at least a jacket on every day. I've been out without a jacket.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I left with the jacket, but then it's like after like 5 minutes, oh my God.
Take it off.
I mean,
yeah.
Now you have to understand, kids, some back context. I sweat. I'm a sweater. I sometimes in the summer sweat waiting at an intersection, waiting for the light to turn green. It's very bad when you were a dancer. I had to put chalk on my forearms because anytime somebody wanted to grab me, they just slip and it's like, oh, there goes the girl. Way. Oh, okay. It's just really weird to be holding your jacket in mid-November walking down the street. But yeah, it's been the case. And even like at 10 o'clock at night, we've come out of our curling matches, the one that we played like at 9, 9:20 going in, coming out 10, or even coming out midnight. And it's like, yep, still no jacket. walk to the car. Really interesting. So yeah, good
Well,
weather.
look, this is how bizarre the weather is. Okay, it's November 17th. Those trees are still
Still have leaves.
green with leaves.
It's
Green
ridiculous.
leaves.
And we've had snow.
Yes. Like you can see the trees right in the foreground there in front of the building across the street. They're all bare. But the ones in the background in the park, those aren't evergreens. The evergreens are over here. Right?
The tree in the backyard has been completely bare for a long time. Like the big, big, huge one that if it fell, even though it's like 80 feet away, would still touch the house if it fell in this direction. The one right in front of the house, some leaves have fallen, but it's still mostly leaves.
Yeah.
They're both maples, but one's bare and one's not. It's really interesting.
Very bizarre, right?
And this year we're going to do the thing with the leaves that I've been reading from the Weather Network, which is to just rake them and then gather them around the trunk of a tree in a pile, so that all the critters, the caterpillars and whatnot, and bugs and whatnot can have a place to keep warm and reproduce for the spring. So we're going to try that. I didn't know that was a thing. I knew about the letting your no mow May, but I didn't know about don't rake in the fall and don't mulch them just yet. Leave them there for the winter and then do that in the spring. So we're going to try that.
No mow May? I've never heard that before. That sounds funny.
Yeah, I know. But no mow May, yeah, they say just to let the grasses grow during May again so that the bugs can, and all that can start their life cycle. And then after that, so we did that the first year we were here. And I think somebody thought that maybe our lawnmower was broken because like around the 22nd, somebody mowed our lawn for us. It's like, no, this is on purpose. All right. Kits, we have a Friday morning bite for you. A little couple programming notes before we start. Last night we recorded a great interview that we will have for you on December 1st because Mr. Grizzly will be away. So we will have a pre-recorded show that day for you, but a really engaging interview.
Oh, yes.
So easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, and we'll have him back a few more times because there's more to the story, right?
Yeah. No, he's got. We're talking about a person that has like a 40-year career in a certain that. So there's so much to say. But it was a total delight.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely enjoyed the time we spent with him. And I mean, he's so engaging and had some just great stories. And some of the things he spoke about is like, wow, that's like he was there for actual history in Canadian media. Like, not only was he a witness to it, but he created some of it too.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So it's it's going to be a great guest. We're not giving names yet because we like to show a little leg here, sometimes a little thigh.
It's in the description.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Oh no, thanks. Weren't you the one the last time who told me don't say it?
Well, I didn't like. Here's the weird thing. So when I set it up, I put all the description together and I scheduled it. I didn't realize it was going to post it right away.
Oh,
so I was like, oh, it's already up. So okay.
All right. Well, then well, you know what? I still won't say. I'll let people go look for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
They really want to know. And if you want the surprise, you want to go look.
Do your own research.
And then we issued an invitation to all 4 candidates who are running for the Ontario Liberal leadership race. And on the first day, we heard back from one of the candidates, Ted Hsu. So we will be having an interview with him live next Thursday. I haven't heard from Nate Erskine-Smith, Bonnie Crombie, or Yasser Nakvi yet, but I will write another letter to them to say, hey, Ted Hsu has said yes. Because sometimes somebody wants to be the first to jump, but if somebody takes the opportunity, then the others don't want to let the vacuum.
Yes, exactly. Well, and Yasser is my MPP, so Mr. Nakvi, come on, bro. Come on. Like,
yeah. It just so happens that Ted Hsu is my MPP here.
Yeah,
it kind of worked out.
Well, and if Nate Erskine-Smith is the man who I think he is, and who I believe that he is. I should say, not think, the man who I believe he is. I'm sure he'll, if his schedule allows, he'll make time for us.
Yep. All right, Kits. There's Some interesting stuff going on in the news. One of the things that happened, you'll know that yesterday we showed a video of that man who was upset with the protests. A kid had asked me if I could get a copy of the video. The video has been taken down, I've
Oh,
heard.
really?
Yes. Now I've talked to somebody who's been in contact with him, um, and it seems that the person that put up the video did not know at the time he made the video that the protesters he was talking about were there protesting for a ceasefire in Palestine.
Oh, right. Right. I can
Um,
understand.
I do not know. I know that uh, from what I can tell from the conversation I had with the person who's been talking to them is that the person who made the video does agree with the concept of a ceasefire.
Yes,
Um, and that's
but
not a
not
hard
the method
stretch.
but not the method that they did it in.
That's the part I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it's a case that because he didn't know it was about Palestine and then he got flooded
Mm-hmm.
for having those because his views were pretty strong and trenchant,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's about the methods regardless of the cause, or then that is sometimes a possibility. If it was for ceasefire, then the methods are okay.
In this case, I don't think the methods were well
The methods are
documented.
if the
Wasn't good.
methods are if the methods are wrong because you thought one group of people were doing it and then you find out another group of people were doing it and now it's okay, well then those methods are okay. Then mm, wrong
Yeah.
is wrong is wrong, no matter who
Yeah,
does it.
well, but everything he said when it comes to Skippy,
Yes, all of that is true.
all of it.
And let's say those were the protesters that showed up in Peterborough
Yes,
that did that thing to Mr. Singh, or showed up in Belleville when the prime minister was there just last time,
exactly.
or during the campaign showed up and, well, say throw rocks. It was gravel, but it's like
Hmm.
introduction to stoning. um, so I can't speculate as to the reason. Those are the three possibilities that come to my mind,
Hmm.
because there are people who do have sliding scale morality, and then there are people who don't. And so, but I'm not going to assume anything about this man because it could also be because it could also just as easily be is because he thought he was talking about convoyers, and when he found out it was Palestinians, well, I mean, people are dying
Yes.
there, and people are, well, not even dying, people are being killed there. I can understand having, oh, maybe I don't want to say that about people who are being killed, but I don't mind saying that about people who can't handle being inconvenienced.
Yes.
That part's too. So I don't know, but yes, if you have been looking for the video, if you wanted to share it and all that kind of stuff,
It's gone.
um, it's gone. I mean, now, of course, you can always go to our show and show them the one that we played yesterday. But it seems that this person does not want it circulated at
And
the
we
moment.
understand that.
We
So,
understand that. So
it was,
I'm
well,
going to I'm
he
going to see
lashed
if I
out emotionally
yes.
because he thought it was column A protesting. When he realized it was column B and what they were calling for, he's like, okay, look, I disagree with your method, but
We don't
yes,
know that.
people are dying. Well, and you know what? We don't know that. We don't
We
know
don't know,
that.
we don't know if he disagrees with. We know he disagrees with the method if he thought it was convoyers. We don't know if he disagrees with the methods. So that's the thing. So I don't want to ascribe any ill intent or noble intent.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate, but I mean, if I were to speculate,
Yeah, but I'm going. Yeah, but I'm not going to.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that I can be put in contact with him so we can have him on. If he's see, here's the thing. If he took it down because he's being harassed, that's not cool. It's not cool. Not
No,
cool that he took it down. It's not cool that he was being harassed. And I can understand that. You put something up, it generates a lot of heat, you know, and then you're flooded like for 3, 4, 5 days, and that's all you see. And it's happened to
well,
me once or twice that after like 3, 4 days, it was like, okay, you know what? this is a little much. So, I mean, if you spend 3 days blocking, and everything on your Twitter feed and your social media is all this hate while you're trying to get to the regular stuff that you need to do your day,
Mhm.
that can get to people.
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah. So hopefully we'll find out more. But yes, at the moment, this person does not want that circulated. So I would like to respect that person's wishes.
Okay.
So,
Well, and look, we have to also say that this is a moment in time. It's not the entirety of his existence,
oh no,
right?
no, not
It's
at all.
like the amount of people that came out of the woodwork accusing me of being um, mentally deranged and on drugs. And I said, well, I am. I have depression, anxiety, ADHD, and I am on medication for it. So you're right about that.
Yep.
When I was yelling at people for, well, we know,
Yeah.
but the amount of people that also thought that that's just who I am. I'm just that yelly, angry guy in the street 24/7. That's all I am. They also thought, I work for the Liberal Party of Canada. I'm on the
Yeah, they
PM's
like to fill in
payroll.
blanks. Well,
I
that's the
live in a
thing.
$1 million condo.
That's the thing. They're filling them in the blanks with what they need to be true for their narrative to stick, and we don't want to do
Yes.
that here when it comes to this gentleman.
No, we're not going to do that. That's
Yeah.
not who we are.
Yeah. So just for the people who were looking for a clip for the video, I just wanted to let you know that's the reason why I was not able to get it to you. Because when you ask me for things that we've seen on the show, I generally send it to
Mhm.
you, because the whole reason we do this is for this information to be circulated. But in this case, this person doesn't want that information circulated, and um, we should respect that. However,
We'd love to talk to him, though, if you'd
yes,
like to. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, modify his voice if that's what he wants, and that so we will offer that. Um, However, our position here is that regardless of the reason, that tactic is wrong. We
Mhm.
would be saying the same thing if it
Mhm.
was people protesting for Israel,
Yes.
or protesting for Palestine, or protesting against vaccine mandates, or protesting for a UBI.
Oh, yes, exactly. It's the
You,
wrong method.
it's the wrong method. It's the wrong
Well,
method.
and the ridiculousness of it all. What exactly is the Prime Minister of Canada going to do to stop the war in Israel
Exactly.
and Hamas and Palestine? I mean, we talked about this yesterday. What can he do? Okay, that's it. Stop. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
And nobody's listening. In fact, not
Nobody's
only is
listening.
nobody listening, I found out this morning listening to the news that it seems that Israel dropped even yet more leaflets to the concentrated place in the south where everybody is, saying, move further south.
Of
At
course.
some point, there's going to be no more further south to move.
Yeah. They're all going to be piled up on the border with Egypt, and Egypt's going to be like, nope.
And Israel is probably going to be pressuring Egypt to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems, anyway, I'm not sure it's an official position yet, but there have been some people in the IDF and in the government who have publicly made statements that if they all went over down to Egypt and they could just occupy all the space, they'd be quite happy with it. And if they're not there, they're looking to come in and settle in and occupy for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not that ends up being the thing. But again, Joe Biden is out there screaming, please stop making all of the same mistakes we made after September 11th. And Israel's going, no, we want to find out for ourselves. So if Joe Biden, who has all that military force and could use it if he chose to, can't even get into Netanyahu's ear, what do you expect the prime minister to do?
Well, this is it, right?
Seriously, we just talked yesterday how about we're the soft underbelly in the global piñata. When they want to try
Well,
to get to the United States, they do something to us.
we live next door. Well, we share a bed with an 800-pound gorilla, right?
Yep.
And that 800-pound gorilla is the most powerful nation on Earth with the largest military on Earth.
Yeah. But it's like, gee, you guys are so worried about your southern border. Would you like to be worried about your northern one? Well, nice Canada you have. Would be a shame if something happened to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right. That's basically what China and India and now maybe potentially Israel is doing to us. This is not for us. This is not about us. This is to influence the United States, and it's all for domestic consumption. this whole thing that the government of India is doing, that's for domestic consumption. This whole thing that Netanyahu is doing, that whole tweet thing, just blah, 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 that was not even for domestic audience in his own nation. That's domestic audience in his own government.
Yes.
Because he's got that Itamet Ben-Gvir guy, who, if you read read up about him, the word aspiring butcher comes to mind.
Well,
So if you think Netanyahu has no love for the Palestinians, this guy,
yeah.
not at all, right? So yeah, just and also I wanted to make a note. You might have noticed that a hashtag I started some time ago to describe Pierre Pulver. That sounds a lot like Pee Wee Herman. I've stopped using it.
Okay.
And I changed it to Pee Wee Gurman because he tries to foster rage. Because there have been people referring to other people as vermin in certain contexts.
Yes, right, yeah.
And I thought it was clever. But
right.
Yeah. So I decided to
It's
modify.
dehumanizing.
Yes, it is. Now, I'm not saying that the leader of the opposition deserves to be dehumanized, but he definitely deserves to be mocked. But I stopped using it quite a while ago, and I didn't have a change. But I didn't have a change. You know better. I thought it was clever. I thought it was funny. A lot of people laughed, and it was clever wordplay. But yes, you are referring to people as vermin, and that's the first step. And yeah,
dehumanization. We're not going to do that.
So
as much as I despise the man, and I despise him,
and as much as I think that it was really, really, really clever wordplay, Pee Wee Squirmin.
Yes,
I like that. I like that too. But so right now I've been using German. I'm sure if people read it a little fast, they might see Pee Wee German. Which is not what I'm intending. I'm not intending to say he's a little Nazi either. Gur for rage. But I just wanted to know, and because I own my stuff, so I issued a not so gentle correction on myself a couple of months ago. But that is why, because I realized no, you don't. We don't want to feed it. Which wolf do you feed, right? So,
right.
And something that reminded me of that again yesterday was Jenny Byrne, who decided that once again she was going to circulate that photo of the Prime Minister with people, dressed up Arabian Nights with
brown face,
with the brown face, yesterday I didn't use the word for Leslie Lewis that I keep thinking every time I see her. The one that people in our community use for each other when one of us denies their own kind. But I did yesterday, finally, for the first time, send something to Leslie Lewis and say, are you okay with this? Are you okay with members of your party gleefully circulating and disseminating photos that are racist, that are offensive, and that are hurtful every single time?
Yeah, like
they don't have anything else. You just stand there and wave. I mean, you're in the inner circle.
Yeah,
you're in Pierre's inner group. He gave you like a special position, and you're sitting there and you're watching it happen, and you say nothing. You haven't called for Jenny Byrne's resignation. You haven't called for the resignation of any people in your party. And you haven't stepped aside saying, you know what, I can't stand this. Leslie, how are Black people in Canada supposed to look to you to speak for us when you even won't stand up to your own party when they circulate photos of blackface? And Jenny Byrne, how dare you circulate photos of blackface pretending that you're doing it because you care about us.
Yeah.
You're a political strategist. You're like one of the political strategists of the last like 15, 20 years in this nation. And you know goddamn well what you're doing.
Of course she does. It's harmful, it's hurtful, it's painful, and they just continue to do it over and over and over. And it's like, really, you're really going to stand for this? You're really just going to stand idly by and let this happen constantly? And by not saying or doing anything to bring about an end to it, you tacitly support it.
I'm not going to say anti, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty close to, Leslin.
Yeah.
Black Canadians are watching you, and we are not impressed.
For good reason.
And not only are you saying nothing as your own party is circulating photos of blackface, you had brunch with Christine Anderson. You were proud of it. You put photos on it. What are you doing, a black person, having lunch with Christine Anderson, who's coming back, by the way?
Yes, again, in like, when is it?
November 23rd or something like that.
Here, let's see.
Yeah, let's see if the Conservatives roll out the blue carpet for her again.
Yeah. Vancouver, November 26th. Winnipeg, November 28th. Ottawa, November 29th. So
why is she always here? Does she not have a job?
I don't know. But November 29th, we should organize a protest.
And it is Trinity Productions. That's the same group that organized it last time that she came. And she's bringing someone now, this guy named Ivan Sinčić from the MEP in Croatia. And like that, again, contorted faces and just... I'm
not even sure who Trinity Productions is, but I'm looking it up right now.
In that picture, they have them with the brunch. I guess you got the 3 Conservative MPs. You got Christine Anderson and almost everybody else that's there. They're from Trinity Productions. In that photo.
Okay.
They're the people that organized it, put it together, organized the tour and stuff. No. You also have to remember that Pierre Poilievre, when that happened, did not issue a statement with his own mouth, did not issue a statement.
Still hasn't.
On letterhead, party letterhead. He basically had Brian Lilly do it for him. Oh, Pierre Poilievre says that. She's bringing lots more people.
Mm-hmm. I don't know who Eva Vlardingerbroek is.
Vlardingerbroek.
Okay, November 29th, Ottawa.
They're coming back and they're bringing friends. Oh, they're going to New Jersey as well.
Yeah. Ottawa. Venue location will be emailed to ticket purchaser 2 days prior to event. See, I want to know what venue is holding this for a lot of reasons. One, I don't want this bitch in my city. And you can come after me for calling her a bitch, but I don't give a shit. She's a fucking Nazi. Okay? Now I know she's... Actually, people have declared her a Nazi, and she's accepted that declaration on more than one occasion. Nazism is illegal in Germany, but she's a Nazi. So I want to know where that venue is so that I can talk to my DJ buddies about refusing to ever work there again. You say, no, sorry, can't help you. No, we're not working there. You hosted a Nazi. And every DJ I know is, and I know a lot of them in this city, every stripe, color of the rainbow, you name it, right? And here's the thing. We're music lovers, first and foremost.
Right.
And we don't stand for the shit that she's selling. It goes against who we are as DJs. We're all about the love. This woman has no love.
DJs, the club, right?
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of a group called Faithless, this is my church. This is where I heal my hurts.
So I want to know where that venue is. so that we can embargo it. Nope, we're not working there. Screw you. You hosted a Nazi. You know who she was. You can't say you didn't know who she was. That would be the biggest lie ever told. Well, we didn't know who she was. Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, just like I didn't read the T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and here's the thing. I actually want to read it because, and if you go listen to the song, it's called God is a DJ. It's by a group called Faithless. This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts. It's in natural grace or watching young life shape. It's in minor keys, solutions and remedies, enemies becoming friends when bitterness ends. This is my church. It's in the world I've become, contained in the hum between voice and drum. It's in the change, the poetic justice of cause and effect, respect, love, compassion. This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts. For tonight, God is a DJ.
Yes.
Right?
I'm just looking at something here, and I'm going to do a little bit of
so when Mr. Grizzly says, the DJs are not into that, the DJs are really not into that. And here we are. The thing is that Podiev, who we mentioned yesterday, seems to be burning votes left, right, and center from groups he needs them from, is going to have a very hard time convincing Jewish Canadians that he's pro-Israel. When questions about his MPs cavorting with a member of a party whose founder stated, quote, "We Germans are the only people in the world who have planted a memorial of shame in the heart of their capital." Like it's a bad thing, considering the thing about which they are ashamed.
Well, so about this event, I don't know where it's taking place in Ottawa, but there are 264 tickets left. In VIP, which is $250 a ticket, there's 123 tickets left. In premium, there's 91 at $125 a seat. In general, there are 50 at $60 a seat. And if you want to attend virtually, there's 79 of those left, and they're $25 a seat. So, yeah, if anybody wants to sign up, I cannot attach my name to this, but if somebody wants to sign up to this anonymously to attend virtually, I'll pay the $25 fee for you, because I need to know where this venue is so we can boycott it as the DJ group we have here in the city. I will spread the word. I want to know where this hall is, where this venue is. Some events are being held at the Bikers Church. That's I know that's in Vanier. I know exactly where that place is.
Yeah, my Beaver sweetie just reminded about nations that have a monument to shame. And he says right in the heart of Bucharest, there's a museum to the victims of communism. So maybe they're not the only city or the only nation that's done that. There goes Kitsasi, the Beaver Investigation Network again. Oh, and by the way, this just in, we have some Mateo news, folks. It seems that there was a parent-teacher meeting not too long ago, and it seems that Mateo is doing very, 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 very well in class, particularly math.
Well done, sir.
Particularly math. Well done. Well done.
I just put the address to the Bikers Church in the chat. It's 155 Carillon Street in Vanier. Right. For those asking, I don't know if that's where the venue is or not. You won't know until 2 days before the event. So, but if anybody wants to sign up for it to get the event address, I'll pay the $25 virtual fee. I'm happy to do that, but I cannot attach my name to that. For a lot of reasons. I can't have my name attached to it.
Yep. All right.
Let's I got a palate cleanse here for you.
Please.
A real quick palate cleanse. I think you'll get a kick out of this. This is from Cheryl in Nova Scotia. Police on BC Island respond to reports of mysterious screaming and find a sad goat. Officers say they also traced unsettling sounds in local cemetery on Halloween to 2 people in a bush.
That's Two people in the bush. Name of your sex tape.
Push in the
In the
bush.
bush.
That's a disco song, folks.
Technically, wouldn't it have been one person in the bush? Anyway, or was it a threesome? Anyway, weird. But yes, weird noises coming from the bushes in the cemetery. Jeez, that's horrible. Anyway, what are you guys doing in Nova Scotia? Seriously.
No, that was in BC.
Oh, that was in BC.
Yes.
Oh my.
It was Cheryl in Nova Scotia who pointed out
Okay,
that
Cheryl in
took
Nova
place
Scotia.
in BC.
All right. And it seems also, in addition to being top in the class in math, our national Mateo is at a grade 2 reading level already. So he can math, and he's an advanced reader. Looks like we're on our way to having an engaged, informed citizen.
Outstanding.
Way to go, Mom and Dad, and way to go, Mateo. We're proud of you, Mateo. Good job. Keep doing that. It's wonderful. All right.
I'll be right back. I need coffee.
Okay. Then I will talk about something else that I was going to talk about. I'll save that one because I was following the chat yesterday, and somebody mentioned something about a national anthem. So I went looking for it, and I actually have not heard it yet. So we're going to listen to it all together because apparently it was botched. So yeah, we'll have a little fun with that. Let's see, what do we have for you today? Oh, yes, we have some stuff about Canadians who make us proud. Yesterday, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, the Giller Prize was given. It's $100,000 prize for novelists. I believe it's for fiction specifically, but it's the biggest prize in Canadian literature. And the winner of it was a lady named Sarah Bernstein, who won the prize for her novel Study of Obedience. She's a Montreal-born author, a creative writing teacher currently living in Scotland. She joined the evening virtually because she had given birth to a new baby merely 10 days prior.
Oh, wow.
She is quoted to say, "I really, really couldn't believe it. I'm having difficulty still assimilating information, but you sort of feel like it's a joke, someone's playing on you or something. I haven't slept very much in about 10 days, so I think the sense of surreality is just continuing. The edges of everything are just a bit blurry." In her acceptance speech, she said, "I'm really privileged to have been afforded the opportunity to tell this story, and I think often now how important it is, more than ever, to support writers in material ways to tell the stories of their own people in their own ways, especially when their stories challenge dominant historical narratives." Other books that were nominated, the finalists, not the finalists, my mistake. Other books that she has written are a 2021 novel called The Coming Bad Days and a collection of prose poems called Now Comes the Lightning. She was also named one of Granta's best young British novelists in 2023. Study of Obedience explores the themes of guilt, abuse, and prejudice through the eyes of its unreliable narrator. In it, a woman lives her hometown to move to a remote northern country to be a housekeeper for her brother, whose wife recently decided to leave him. Soon after her arrival, the community is struck by unusual events, from collective bovine hysteria to a potato blight. Okay. When the locals direct their growing suspicions of newcomers at her, their hostility grows more palpable. Ah, there it is. She can't imagine what a life should be or what a life should look like. In the first instance, she looks to her family to tell her how to be. And then as she gets older, she has invested a lot, although she doesn't talk about it very much, in her attempt to have a career as a journalist, she said in an interview with The Next Chapter. It seems that there are other authors that were nominated for the prize. C.S. Richardson, Dion Irving, Eleanor Catton, and Kevin Chong were also nominated for the Giller Prize this year. So if you would like to check out any of their books, please do. The Giller Prize was founded by Toronto businessman Jack Rabinovich in honor of his late wife, literary journalist Doris Giller, in 1994. And Rabinovich died in 2017. So that's a big deal. The Giller Prize is always a very, very big deal. And in the UK, there was also, Yes, we'll get back to the Giller Prize. Remind me to get back to the Canadian Giller Prize. But in the UK, yesterday, for some reason, it only got announced today on the news, but this happened in September. There's something called the Baillie Gifford Prize, which celebrates the best nonfiction written in English from around the world. And this year's winner is a Canadian named John Violent. Okay, sorry. In September he was longlisted for the prize, which is 85,000 UK, but he won it, and it's a nonfiction prize. And he wrote his book called Fireweather: The Making of a Beast, and it's a book about the Fort McMurray wildfires. So this one's for nonfiction. So Canadians are writers, doing us proud. So yeah, if you're looking for some good reads, nonfiction, Fireweather by John Violent, the winner of the Baillie Gifford Prize. And if you're looking for all the other reads from the Giller Prize, that would be great. Now, we were talking about protests to begin the show. Just as the prize was being announced, the Giller Prize here, a protester posing as a photographer interrupted the ceremony, which was being broadcast live on CBC with anti-war slogans. A video of the incident posted to social media shows a woman yelling at the room while several others hold up signs accusing Scotiabank of genocide for investment in an arms company that deals with Israel. In the video, police intervened to remove the protester as she is heard yelling "Free Palestine" while she is led away. Toronto police said that Tuesday that 3 Toronto residents were arrested in the incident. They've all been charged with obstruct, interrupt, or interfere with the lawful use, enjoyment, or operation of property and use of a forged document. They're scheduled to make a court appearance in January. It's not the first time that Canadian awards ceremonies have been taken over by protest. Earlier this year, a topless environmental protester interrupted the Junos in Edmonton to protest Ontario plans for the Green Belt, which drew the ire of singer Avril Lavigne, who was trying to introduce a performer at the time.
Yes, I remember that well. And I thought Avril was going to boot her in the... Avril was pissed.
Ooh, yeah. Well, it was her moment.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she had been away for a while as well, right? Because she had been suffering with Lyme disease for many years. So, yeah.
I'm all for topless protest, don't get me wrong. But...
and even this type of protest, right? Like, this is not... The thing that I find ironic is that in this protest, where somebody clearly bought a ticket, or in this case, posed as a journalist, I should say, because they didn't buy a ticket, but posed as a journalist, and there's a picture of her, and you can see that she's holding her cell phone up, filming herself as she's doing the protest. But going into a venue and then, rising up and unfurling a banner or whatnot, that happens all the time, right? People in the room get annoyed, whatnot, but it's legitimate. There were 3 people arrested here, and there was no violence. In Vancouver, there was 2 people detained, 1 arrested, and who will be charged, 1 who was released. And there was 250 people who surrounded the Prime Minister in locked arms, and 1 police officer was beaten and had her eyes gouged out.
Well,
why are there more arrests?
Gouged. They were gouged.
Not gouged, gouged. Yeah, sorry. Why are there more arrests for this, which was peaceful?
I don't know.
I mean, the worst the person did was they used a forged document to say, "Hey, I'm a member of the media," to get in. Obstruct, interfere, or interfere with lawful use, enjoyment, or operation of the property. Well, are all those people that were at the restaurant, weren't they enjoying? Weren't they engaged in lawful use, enjoyment, or operation of a property? Operating a restaurant and eating there? One of them had violence.
Yes.
1 person was arrested. Well, 2 people were arrested. 1 was charged, 1 was released. This one had no violence, and 3 people are charged.
Well, that's interesting.
This is law enforcement. You're not helping yourself.
No. You're looking like the bad guy here. That's not good.
That's
ever.
Not good. That's
It's
not
not.
good.
It's not what we go. It's not what we in the business call good public relations.
Ooh, no. That's a decision that, I'd be sitting there and could you explain that, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Do you have something, Mr. Grizzly?
I got a couple of things actually. So here I'm discovering, because I do a lot of reading. I'm not going to say research because I'm not a professional researcher, but I read a lot. Trinity Productions is 3 women, Judy, Stephen, and I'm questioning if they've crossed into the realm of illegality by personating. And personating is when you pretend to be, not impersonating, but personating is when you pretend to be something that you are not. And it's done so in a fashion that can be authoritative and detrimental to those who believe you to be who you say you are. Trinity Production aims to bring global political figures, medical professionals, and human rights advocates to Canada to communicate with the public and private sectors. Trinity Productions was born in 2022 when the founders traveled to Europe as Canadian ambassadors to connect Canada with their European allies of the freedom movement. Is that not personating? You're saying you're an ambassador, but you don't have a diplomatic passport. Not a lawyer, so I don't know. But if somebody wants to have a closer look at that, says that trip led to many new key relationships, including with Nazi Christine Anderson. I put the Nazi in, they didn't say that. Who has, this member of European Parliament, who has been an unapologetic voice for the freedoms of Canadians on the world stage. From that relationship would form Trinity Productions' first endeavor, bringing Christine Anderson to Canada for the What Would Christine Anderson Do Canadian tour.
Not all Canadians, by the way. She's not protesting for the freedoms of all Canadians.
No, she is not.
No, she's not.
So I'm looking at some of the other stuff that these folks, and let me just share this with you. This is the Ottawa top information. These are the guests they're going to have. Christine Anderson, Eva Vlaardingerbroek, which I would assume she's Dutch. Pastor Hildebrandt. So there's a terrible person. John Stetch, I don't know who he is. David Craden, not sure. Denis Rancourt, Lisa Robinson, Josh Alexander, that little shit stain of a punk. I saw him wearing his hat with a group of people at Remembrance Day. And I walked by him and I went into a rant. Bridget was standing there. She's like, Paul, calm down. I'm like, no, not today. Today is not the day you make a political statement. Tomorrow, the day before, fine. Remembrance Day, put your politics in your back pocket. And I get, yes, the veterans fought for our freedom to do that. And as I just said a second ago, the day before, the day after, go ahead. One day a year. Put your politics aside.
Even before 11 p.m. and after 2 p.m.
Like this 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
But at the damn ceremony?
Yeah. That's disrespectful.
You're free to do it, but it's disrespectful.
You're free to do it, but it's disrespectful. You are free to do it.
Well,
I'm asking that you don't. I'm asking that you don't because it's disrespectful. That's why I don't like it. Can I do anything about it? No, you're free to do it. You are. But
don't
11 to 2. Just it's 3 hours out of your life.
Then don't get upset when people look down their noses at you because you lived down to expectations.
Yeah.
So in life you can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. You don't get to do that and get the respect of people at the same time. It's just not going to happen for you, sweetie. Yeah. All right. Pierre Poliver put out a little tweet yesterday, just one of his usual ones. Trudeau's housing hell, average monthly rent like this, and he's basically saying, like when I was Minister of Housing.
Yeah, and I called him out because he never was.
Yes, but he has like two columns there, and he has a graph that says, when he was, what the average rent was, and then when Trudeau was, what the average rent was. So he's basically not putting Harper on that bar, right? Because Harper was prime minister at the time. He's putting himself on that bar like he was prime minister at the time, right? When I was in charge, the average rent was like $973. When you're in charge, the average one bedroom is $1,938. Thing is that PP didn't put the bar of where average rent was before Harper became prime minister under Christy Martin, where they finished. So we have a before and after for the prime minister, but we don't have a before and after for him. History just started when he arrived.
Yes.
Yes. We all know what the Harper government did when it comes to housing.
Nothing.
There was about an equivalent increase, but when they deregulated home ownership,
yes,
and Airbnb and all that stuff happened on their watch, and they didn't properly regulate it. Yes. There was easily a 60% spike. It's about an equivalent spike in the amount of in the price of housing while they were in government as there was in this government. It's not that much different, to be honest. And he says, remember when Trudeau promised to lower housing costs? No, actually, I don't remember when Prime Minister Trudeau explicitly promised he would lower specifically housing costs. Housing costs have been going up. Not, I won't say like a hockey stick, but pretty up for at least the last two governments. So if, let's say, when the Conservatives were leading, the price of a one-bedroom apartment went up 60 or 65%, and that was the trend over the last 10 years, what person in their right mind would say, hey, I'm going to lower that when all the momentum is towards higher? And they have the numbers, they have the population numbers and immigration numbers and house building numbers. They understand supply and demand. They understand that the supply is not meeting demand, which is completely antithetical to prices going down. So it's like, no, Pepe Von Snipes, I do not remember when Trudeau explicitly promised to lower specific housing costs. When was it? When? Just the date, please. When? Do you know the date? Yes or no? When?
What's the date?
Show me the page with the date he said that. Really, just the date. No, the date is all we need. When?
Oh, and for the record, Airbnb did start in 2008, which at the time, who was prime minister? Stephen Harper. So yeah, they did nothing for housing but damage the current. They built what we currently have. Changing home ownership laws for foreigners, not immigrants, foreigners. So people who don't even live here, buying up property left, right, and center. In some cases, reselling it. In many cases, renting it out. And in other cases, turning it into Airbnbs. Oftentimes, they will put in a foreign student, so it makes it look like somebody's actually living there, but it's really just a way to wash the money. It's a money laundering scheme. And this was all created under that government. So what is Skippy going to do to fix things? Is he going to, okay, that's it. We're getting rid of Airbnb. We're going to get rid of the foreign ownership percentage. No, he's not going to do any of that because he would harm his wealthy donors. He won't do any such thing. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to get vulgar about it. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't care. He cares about two things: power, money. How to get him, how to keep him, how to get more of it. That is all he cares about. He does not give a flying fuck about you. And he never will. He is a vile human being. A human being. I'm not going to dehumanize him. He is a father, and I don't want anything bad to happen to him physically. I would like to see his career flush down the toilet. I would like to see him out of politics where he'll make more money in the private sector, but he's already a millionaire. So what does he have to work for? And he has the golden parachute, fully indexed government pension. So he could quit tomorrow and live incredibly comfortably for the rest of his life. And he has multiple properties with income. So the landlord is telling us that he's going to do something to make housing more affordable. Remove the gatekeepers by putting in more gatekeepers.
And of course, the thing is that the guy who's saying remove the gatekeepers is a landlord.
Yes, yeah.
And
But that would make him a gatekeeper, right?
Yes. And there's this video going around about his business partner. If you've seen it on the web, where he's on the phone and he's calling tenants and basically yelling at them and swearing at them, and
Yeah.
that's Pierre Pulliver's business partner in, whatever housing income trust REIT thing they've got going on.
Well, you bring up a really good point from earlier. When did Trudeau never said he was going to lower housing costs?
Nope.
At no point. He said he was going to do something to build houses.
Yep.
Never said anything about lowering costs. Never happened. So once again, Skippy lies and gets away with it. He's not held to task.
Yep. I sent you a link. No current MP has voted against affordable housing more times than Pierre Poilievre. Yes. Now, unfortunately,
it's blurry.
The descriptions of the bills are pretty blurry, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, either bills or motions that he has voted against. For example, an act to ensure secure, adequate, accessible, and affordable housing to Canada for Canadians. Voted against that twice, actually. Private members' business motion. Anyway, second reading of Bill C-63, an act to amend the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation Act. It doesn't specifically say all that. What is it? You'd have to go and find the bills and look. But Bill C-363, C-285, C-304. Twice on two different votes. Motion 292 vote. On Bill C-400, a motion on which was vote 340. Bill C-325.
You can find all of this on his parliamentary webpage, which every member of parliament has, and the voting record is there. It's all public. It's Bill C-304, an act to ensure secure, adequate, accessible, and affordable housing for Canadians. Nay. Yep. Nay. He voted no. Why did he vote no? Because that would benefit him. He's talking out of both sides of his face. He's telling people who do not have the time to invest in, say, a program like ours, or the time to get fully up to date with what's really going on in the world. They get the 30-second soundbite from Skippy or the tweet and believe it, because nobody's calling him out on his lies.
Yeah.
So they believe it. And I'm not upset with people for that.
No.
Because they do not hold him to task for the blatant bullshit he spreads on the daily. Mm-hmm. So I understand why people will fall into that trap and believe it. Mm-hmm. I get that. So I don't fault the average person for that. Yeah. But I would like to get out the facts to let them know when he tells you he's going to make housing affordable, he's fucking lying to you.
Yeah. And there's an old article on the Georgia Strait from November 14th, 2012 called Stephen Harper Government Lies to the World on Housing. And in there it says, the federal government will have to answer to the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva for its failure to keep its promises to the international community around housing. Mm-hmm. That's how bad they screwed it up.
Yeah.
That the UN, the Human Rights Council of the UN, called them out. Michael Shapcott, Director of Affordable Housing and Social Innovation at the Toronto-based Wellesley Institute, told the Georgia Strait by phone that in 2009, Canada made several pledges to the Universal Periodic Review process. This was created by the UN in 2006 to hold countries accountable for their human rights records by forcing them to answer questions from other countries. In April 2013, Canada is scheduled to undergo scrutiny for its performance since the last review. Quote, Canada's specific commitment was, we recognize more needs to be done. We promise we'll work with the provinces and territories and we'll come up with a strategy, Wellesley said. They've absolutely, completely failed in that regard of having a strategy. And that was the same thing that they said about climate change, right? Every time it says, no, we have our own plan. We'll do a sector by sector thing. It never happened. They spent 10 years telling us we have our own plan, but never actually told us what the plan was because they never had one.
Well, his tweet from yesterday, let me see if I can find it, because I did kind of call him out. And of course, he does not respond to anything I say ever, nor will he, for that matter, because, and another thing I got to point out, let me see, where is it? I got to find it.
Okay, I'll keep going.
Here's another thing I want to point out.
Okay.
National Post yesterday. 1 in 5 Canadians surveyed want Trudeau to resign because they're just tired of him. My response is, so by that metric, 4 out of 5 Canadians want him to remain in the position of Prime Minister.
Nope.
Math isn't hard.
Nope. That's wrong, actually.
I know. I'm being funny.
Yes, it's wrong, but it's wrong the other way around too, because there I've got people going 1 in 5. That seems suspiciously low. Okay, all of you people who can't read, read it again, please, Mr. Grizzly.
1 in 5. Hang on a sec. Where is it? Where did it go? I just changed pages there. So 1 in 5 Canadians surveyed Trudeau resign because they are just of him.
Okay, want Trudeau to resign? What's the word that came after?
Because people are just tired of him.
So 1 in 5 want him to resign for one specific reason. I'm sure there are people that want him to resign for other reasons. So again, if you read an article that the title says 1 in 5 want him to resign for this reason, you go, only 20% want him to resign? That seems low. That paper is giving liberal propaganda. Congratulations, you're an idiot. You don't know how to read. And you don't know how to use deductive reasoning.
Well.
And then same thing. It's like, well, that means 80% want him to stay. Congratulations, you're an idiot. You don't know how to read. Because those are only the people that want him to resign because they're tired of him. Now, I'm sure if you did an equivalent survey, how many people want Pierre Oliver to resign as leader of the opposition because we're tired of him, it would certainly be more than 1 in 5.
Oh, yes.
That's the journalistic Jedi mind trick. They gave the number for one guy, but not the other guy. Now, 20% that want you to go just because they're tired of you, that's actually high.
Yes.
Of all the reasons that they could, that one single reason, that's 20%. But then again, of all the reasons, I don't know, I'm just tired of him. Not because he's corrupt, not because he did anything wrong, not because he screwed you over, not because he called your mother a whore.
Just tired of him.
Tired of him, huh?
Get a freaking life.
Agreed. I found the thing I was looking for here. And it's what we were talking about earlier. This is Skippy. Rent has more than doubled after 8 years of Trudeau. Conservatives have a common sense plan to build homes you can afford. Well, I'm going to click on this link and share it with you in just a second. But first, I want to go and average rent for one bedrooms.
Yep.
Right? This is 1902. And they show Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau NDP government, which is a lie. Polyev housing minister. He was never the housing minister. Never. So he's lying 3 times there.
No, yes, he was. He was.
No, he was not housing minister.
Yes, he was. There was no minister of housing, but the housing portfolio was included in the economic and social development portfolio, which he held for less than a year.
Okay, but he's calling himself housing minister, and that was not a position that he ever held.
No,
it fell under his purview.
Yes, he was responsible for housing. He's playing with words like this,
yes.
And but what he's really playing with is time, because he wasn't there for over a year. He didn't have time to do anything. All he did was preside over continuing the cuts that were made before. That's all he did. He didn't do anything, and that's the graph where he didn't show the number before. You're comparing Trudeau to you.
Right.
But you didn't compare yourself to the previous guy to see how well you did. Time just started when you arrived.
Well, and his conservatives have a common sense plan to build homes you can afford. Join us. Let's take a look at what that common sense plan is. Build homes, not bureaucracy. Whereas Justin Trudeau promised 8 years ago to make housing more affordable. Whereas after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, the cost of mortgages, rent, and down payments have all doubled. Whereas Trudeau's inflationary deficits have driven up interest rates that have made housing more expensive. Whereas local government gatekeepers continue to block home construction in our cities. What the fuck is that all about? Leaving Canadians with a shortage of homes. Therefore, be it resolved that we call on this government to adopt a common sense conservative plan to get the gatekeepers out of the way, rapidly increase home building, and bring homes people can afford. That is not a platform or a plan.
So the plan is to, is there something that they can?
That's the whole thing. That's the whole page. You can sign up for it. That's it.
That's not
That's their platform.
And whereas local
Donate.
government, whereas local government gatekeepers continue to block here, that's the cities he's bitching about.
Yes. Yeah.
The cities are the enemy.
Well, and
it's the premiers that won't funnel the money to the city so that they can build so much so that the prime minister, who actually said that housing isn't primarily his responsibility, which is the truth, and then he got raked over the coals until he decided to bypass the provinces, and then provinces turned around. Wait a minute, housing is not your responsibility, it's ours.
Well, then do something about it. But you won't do anything about it. So I'm going to do it because you keep calling on me to do it.
But you know what they're doing about it, what they've decided to do about it. Not to get more money to the cities to actually build housing. No. They want to pass laws.
Mm-hmm.
They want to pass laws. New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgs wants to pass a law like Quebec has, so that you absolutely have to negotiate with the provincial government and not give it. 2 days later, Sean Fraser was in Moncton donating and giving some money.
I think Sean Fraser's just like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I'm not putting up with it anymore.
Just not putting up with it.
Yeah.
And it seems that Blaine Higgs, Minister of Finance, says that he's got no plans to get on that.
Well,
soon, because he wants to be reelected, and anybody that's living anywhere, if they see that the federal government's got money for housing and that the provinces are trying to block it getting from the cities, because it's not like the money's been getting to the cities to build housing before anyway, you're going to lose your seat.
Yeah.
So the finance minister, it's like Blaine Higgs really wants it to be done. He's been talking about it. There's articles all over, especially in the Telegraph, but it's like his finance minister's like, yeah, I'm not working on that right now. I don't know what he's talking about. So, but that's the plan. Their plan is to try to pass a law. Now, here's the thing, right? In Saskatchewan, no offense to people living in Saskatchewan, I'm calling Saskatchewan because of the guy leading the damn place. Ooh, the morning poor. Scott Moe has passed or has introduced his law that says that we're not going to collect that carbon tax. So here's the thing, premiers who are going to pass these laws to force the federal government to go through you if you can pass a law saying that you're not going to collect a federal tax, what obligation does the federal government now have to obey your law that says we must go through you in order to get money to cities? I understand that cities are a creation of the provinces, but there's no law anywhere that says that the federal government can't make a direct contribution to a city. And you passing a little law, stomping your feet, going, no, every money that comes into the province can't go directly to a city, it has to go through my hands. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not collecting taxes, so you're not obeying the law that says you have to collect taxes on behalf of the federal government. So I don't have to obey a law that says I have to give any money to the cities through you. The street goes both ways.
Oh, yes.
The street goes both ways. And I don't think that there's going to be very many Canadians who are going to be upset in the court of public opinion that the federal government is giving money to the cities to build housing, because you won't. And I think in the battle of public relations between the federal government's not sending money through us so we can get our cut versus the cities going, hey, the federal government is doing really good by us. And that's already started. If you've been on the Twitter account of the mayor of Guelph, I've written to him, but I'm going to send a more formal letter to his office because I was hoping to get him through his Twitter feed. But the mayor of Guelph, Cam Guthrie.
Yeah, he's done some good work.
Yeah, he's been doing some really, really good work, but he's been just keeping it very, very, very real. And this housing thing is not new, right? His pinned
No.
tweet is from February 3rd, saying we're in a housing crisis. Please stop with the NIMBY. No more delays, no more gatekeepers. We must get housing built. And he's, no matter what people have been saying about the prime minister, at least at the federal level, he has been just just saying it. It's like, thank you, federal government, because right. And it has worked, because on November 14th, you know who showed up for a meeting with Mayor Cam Guthrie? Paul Calandra,
Mm,
the new Minister of Housing.
mm.
But it took for Cam Guthrie to go all over Twitter and social media and make the point that they have never, never, ever been happier. He says, he was interviewed by Canadian Press News on the issue of federal housing funding success through Sean Fraser and how mayors don't want things to slow down in a crisis. So not only is he all over Twitter, but because he got all over Twitter, all of a sudden the Canadian press is interviewing him. So now he's gone national. And what happens? 4 days later, all of a sudden, Paul Calandra now has time to have a meeting with the mayor of Guelph. And you have to remember that Guelph provincially is represented by a Green MPP. Interesting. So on November 7th, another roughly 500 homes approved by Guelph Council. In the last couple of weeks, we've approved 1,400 new units. Keep the applications coming, developers. Let's go. 1 week after that is when Paul Calandra showed up. The number one single most direct influence program, policy change, shift, and intervention to help build more homes across Canada has been Sean Fraser, MP. I'm actually going to give this one to you, Mr. Grizzly, up there, so we can put it up so the kids can see this one. So when provinces belittle the federal government to stay out of direct housing help from municipalities, it's infuriating to me. If you don't like it, then you take the lead and get it done. You've had years. Fraser did it in mere months. And then somebody typed him some weird account with no face and a whole bunch of numbers. Yeah, he's about 7 years late, but don't despair. He will be out of office very soon. He's 7 years late. He arrived. And he's not 7 years late. He just became housing minister.
The mayor's response.
The premiers have been, is like got the guy from The Office, like Tevin was drinking coffee. Like, okay then. Right. The article on the Canadian Press, Fed's mayors don't want to slow things down after premiers criticize housing deals. The mayor of Halifax, which recently secured a deal with Ottawa to fast-track the building of thousands of new homes, says he was caught off guard by the recent complaints from premiers over being left out of funding agreements. There is a group called the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. If all of them give their endorsement in the next election to the Liberals, good luck winning the 905.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Good luck winning the suburbs of Vancouver. Conservative Party of Canada. The mayor of Winnipeg, which still hoping for its own request to be approved, says he's more focused on getting the money quickly than on which level of government pays the bills. The latest irritant in the relationship between Ottawa and the premiers came to a head Monday after their meeting in Halifax. Provincial and territorial leaders released a communique that called for federal funding, quote, that flows exclusively through provinces and territories to address housing needs and support long-term capital planning. But the federal government and several mayors are doubling down on the need to get funds flowing to cities as quickly as possible. That thing that Doug Ford said, was like this, I'm deregulating all these greenbelt lands because we need to get these homes built as quickly as possible. Well, the federal government goes, well, here's the money for that. And the province goes, no, not that fast. Not that fast. We don't want to build houses that fast. The Liberals have been encouraging municipalities to submit applications that would change municipal bylaws and regulations to promote densification, such as eliminating building height restrictions or parking standards and reducing red tape. On Wednesday, Fraser said he had not previously heard any complaints from the provinces about the program until it started working. There's been no premier, and most of them do have my phone number. There's been no provincial counterpart at a ministerial level who has raised a single concern, Fraser said after a speech. So no minister of housing in any province, and no premier. In fact, the only ones that I have engaged with have indicated that they're quite happy to see the federal government make investments in housing in provinces. The mayors are not with the premiers. Trudeau echoed Fraser's previous comments by encouraging provinces to follow Quebec's lead. So Trudeau's encouraging provinces to follow Quebec's lead because they're saying we want to be like Quebec. You do? Well, then Trudeau says, well, if you want to be Quebec, be like Quebec. When we put forward $900 million as Quebec's share of the housing accelerator, the province of Quebec said, okay, we're going to step up and double it. There's not another province that's offered to do that. We welcome them to come around and do more with us. And that's one of the reasons why François Legault was all over the media. Now, of course, we have to understand that the context for Frankie Legs is that he's had a couple of by-election losses, and a big 13-point lead he had over his closest rival is now shrunk down to 4, and he's now in minority government territory, including the polls. So, of course, he was probably very, very, very eager to be seen as the person who is pushing the government to move faster. And yeah, but as a province, he made a deal and matched the money. All these other premiers that signed that letter, they're not offering a cent. They're running on surpluses. They're saying they're bragging about their GDP growth numbers. But as we keep on saying, they're on the ground, looking up, palm up, like they're living at the Palm View Motel. Basically being panhandlers. Our premiers are panhandlers. Yeah. They have money. They have money. They don't want to use it for you. They'll lambaste the federal government for not using the money on you. And tisk, federal government. But clearly it's not important enough for them to say, hey, federal government, we've got 400 million, 1.2 billion, 122 million, depending on the size of your province or your territory. Let's put it together with an equivalent amount from you. They're not saying that. They're saying, gimme. Well, we gave you for COVID and we gave you for health, and where did the money go? And we've been giving, there has been money, and you've had money for housing, but you've never made it a priority on your budget. So why would we have any reason to believe that if we gave you money and said this needs to be spent on housing while you're asking for it with no strings attached, that it will actually get there, given that you've shown no incentive or initiative to spend money on housing? Why would we? Yeah. So when the Prime Minister says we welcome to come and do more with us, yeah. If you want to complain that you're not being treated like Quebec, you also have to behave like Quebec once you get the money. And you have no intention of doing that.
No, clearly.
It's just.
I have Skippy's voting record going back to November 2021.
Okay, let me just finish this one here.
No, I'm just giving you a footnote. That's all.
Yeah. I know, because I want you to mention it. Because I got the other ones. So Guelph Mayor Cam Guthrie, who's hoping the city will secure a deal with the federal government, it has since then. Quote, it's really a head scratcher for me that in a housing crisis, you would have different levels of government sort of at odds with each other about how funding could flow to exactly where it needs to flow to, which happens to be municipalities where housing is built. Instead of trying to potentially put up roadblocks to delay the type of funding that's needed in this crisis, he said he would encourage provinces to divert that same energy into, quote, seeing how you could partner with the federal government on even more funding that could come to unlock more housing. In Winnipeg, Scott Mayor Mayor Scott Gillingham is trying to secure an agreement. He says, I appreciate that traditionally funding from the federal government flows through provincial governments, but there have been incidences in the past where the federal government has given money directly to cities. My priority and my concern is getting the funds drawn down into Winnipeg in the easiest, quickest way possible to put it to use. And it seems that Sean Fraser has found a very quick and easy way to do it.
I think he's getting it done.
He's getting it done.
Isn't that what the Ontario Progressive Conservative slogan was? When
Yes.
for getting it done?
Yes. 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 All right. Yes.
I have. Well, so I've got Skippy's parliamentary web page open, and I went down and I took a look at something that I found to be, well, interesting. Let's just scroll here to Parliamentary Associations and Interparliamentary Groups. October 20th, 2011 to March 31st, 2012. Canada-China Legislative Association.
Oh.
Which is why he never mentions China and always says Beijing.
Mm-hmm.
So he was part of the team that sold us out to China for 30-some years.
Yep, he was.
And then we'll scroll up here to, well, here at Parliament Officer role, Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Leader of the Opposition, Minister of Employment and Social Development, Minister of Democratic Reform, Minister of State Democratic Reform, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport, Infrastructure and Communities, and for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs, Parliamentary Secretary to the President of the Treasury Board.
Okay, now go up to Minister of Employment and Social Development. What date did he start?
February 9th, 2015 to November 4th, 2015.
So,
not even a year.
In that amount of time, he is claiming that when I was the Minister of Housing,
which is not a title he held,
made it so that rents were just 900 and something. And that number keeps changing because the number on that graph is different than what he had 1,900 and something is different than numbers that he has now. So he can't even keep his number.
No.
Consistent across his kind of.
He's incapable of telling the truth about anything. Ever. At any time.
Yep. And Mr. Grizzly, I sent you a link.
You did?
I did. This is the one that I was talking to you about, that little video. This will probably explain why it is that I keep on tweeting and saying, never trust an MP for life who also happens to be a landlord to be the one who will fix housing.
Wake up, Canada. Mocked Indigenous Canadians. Let me just close. Oh, no. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Pierre Poilievre's business partner and Daniel Smith's supporter, Jonathan Denis, racist prank phone call. Let's
wait a minute. Oh, that's not the right one.
Oh, no?
That's not it. No.
That's the one you sent me.
Yep. Nope. That's not the right one.
Well, that is what you sent me.
Well, okay. Well, that's, yes. But I mean, that's not that. Well, I mean, you can play it. This is his business partner who gives you an idea of the quality of the people. This is a prank phone call.
Yes.
But this isn't the one where he's calling up everyone. There we go.
Well, see if you can find that. So
yeah, I got
play
it right
this.
here. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the province has taken away our casino and the gaming, eh? Like everything's fucking closed here. This is just a bunch of white men coming after us, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, but the province has taken away our casino and the gaming, eh? Like everything's fucking closed here. This is just a bunch of white men coming after us, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was not ready for that.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before.
Okay.
He's a pretty horrible person.
This is the one. Oh yeah. Well, this is even worse.
Yes, I know. Let's just
check the next one.
Yeah, I got it ready. I'll cue it up. And give me a second here.
Now he's talking to actual tenants here.
This is 2 minutes and 45 seconds of, I'm sorry, what?
I know this is Peter's number, so let me fucking talk to Peter right now. Let me talk to Peter right now. I know this is Peter's number. What's the matter? You fucked in the head or something? Oh yeah, but you know the province has taken away our casino and the gaming. Like everything's fucking closed here. This is just a bunch of white men coming after us,
And you know my sister Susie patch.
Deep concerns after a video was posted to social media allegedly involving elected Calgary councillor Dan McLean. He's now under fire from Calgarians and his fellow city councillors. A warning, this video contains offensive language and subject matter.
Listen, you white bastard. This has got to stop.
Get on your hands. And you know my sister Susie patch.
I know your sister Susie.
Susie sometimes patch.
Sister.
This video shows Craig Chandler, a Conservative insider, Jonathan Dennis, a former Alberta Justice Minister, and a third person not seen on camera, allegedly Dan McLean, using misogynistic, racist, and vulgar language in what appears to be a phone call, creating a demeaning caricature of Indigenous people. While you don't see McLean in the video, a picture of the three appeared to be taken earlier that day at the same table. City News reached out to McLean about this video, and he responded in an email Thursday afternoon saying, "All I can tell you is I saw the video and I can honestly say I have zero recollection of that event." There was no further comment from McLean on that matter.
I was so drunk.
McLean's colleague, Ward 11 councillor Courtney Penner, saying she feels disappointed and discouraged after seeing this video.
It's deeply disappointing. Whether this video was shot pre-campaign, pre-election. The path towards truth and reconciliation isn't anything new. We know that imitating anyone of another culture is just not acceptable behavior.
Penner goes on, calling for an apology from her colleague.
I think right now, there's a period of time in which Councillor McLean can step up and bring an apology forward.
Penner says all councillors have received Indigenous training, and there is an Indigenous relations officer who can work with councillors at any time. In Calgary, Bailey Nitty, City News.
So here's a suggestion. Just you tell me what you think about this, sir. Right. Every time those people, and those people I'm referring to are the Reform Party who call themselves conservative, every time they do a blackface tweet or a brownface tweet, we respond with this. This is Skippy's business partner. This is who he lies down with.
This is
who he climbs into. Yes. Come on.
Keep. All right, that's enough about that guy.
Yeah, I've had enough. I've had enough of him for today. Thank you very much.
Let's say good morning to some kits. Good morning, Kit Saucy. Good morning, Kit Elaine. Kit Hugh. Kit Dan. Lovely to see you. Kit Elaine. It's always a joy to see your face.
Give a shout out to Ray.
Yes, exactly. Kit Ray is here. Lovely to see you, my friend.
Bro, next time you're in Ottawa, hit me up. We'll go for a beer.
Yeah.
Well,
I miss
coffee.
you.
We'll go for a coffee because I know you're not a big drinker, so we can go have coffee.
Kit Linda M. Kit Tim. Yay. Hi, nice to see you. Who else do we have? Miss Sadeka, of course. That's all I see right now active in the chat because you guys have been very active in the chat actually. So it's actually going by quite fast on our screen this morning. So if there are more people here, you've already, whenever you said hello, that's already down the list so much that we can't see it anymore. But good morning if you're here. Little change of pace. Let's talk about some Canadians who make us proud as a little bit of a palate cleanser again. The nominations for the Grammys were released not too long ago. And there are several Canadians who have done us proud with nominations. Interestingly enough, however, not a lot of nominations in the big three categories this year. In fact, none in the big three categories, but a lot in other places. And for some reason, I do not know why there it is. All right. But there are a lot of nominations. The biggest nominee from Canada is actually a producer, a person named Serban Ganea, who is nominated for Record of the Year because he produced, actually 3 of the nominees for Record of the Year. The song Worship by John Batiste, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, and the song Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift. Yes, Tay had a Canadian producer for her latest album.
Awesome.
So for Album of the Year, Guts by Olivia Rodrigo and Midnights by Taylor Swift, and the Best Pop Dance Recording with Baby Don't Hurt Me by David Guetta and Anne-Marie and Coyle, and Best Pop Dance Recording One in a Million by BB Rexha and David Guetta. Drake, who often boycotts the Grammys, allowed himself to be considered for consideration, because sometimes he doesn't even submit his album. So he's nominated for 4: Best Rap Song, Best Rap Album, Best Rap Performance, and Best Melodic Rap Performance. Allison Russell, who was nominated 4 times, and the Best Americana Album, Best American Roots Performance, Best Americana Performance, and Best Americana Roots Song for her song The Returner and her performance Eve Was Black. Yannick Nézet-Séguin, perennial nominee. He's a conductor in the classical section, so he's nominated for Best Orchestral Performance and Best Opera Recording. Aaron Allen, Best American Roots Song Collection for California Sober, Billy Strings featuring Willie Nelson. A group called Alvays, Alvvays, for Best Alternative Music Performance for their song Belinda Says. Darcy James Argue, Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album for his album Dynamic Maximum Tension. Darcy James Argue's Secret Society is the name of the band. A band called Bad Bad Not Good.
Yes, they've been around for a while.
Yes, for Best Remix Recording for a song called Alien Love Call. A group called Circuit for Best Dance Electronic Recording for a song called Higher Than Ever Before. Hilario Duran, Best Arrangement, Instrumental or A Cappella for I Remember Mingus. 2 DJs, Dead Mouse and Cascade, collaborated on an album called K Times 5. So they were nominated for Best Dance Electronic Music Album. And these are 2 legendary DJs. So if they got together and put their genius together, I can't imagine how good that album must be. That must be a banger. I need to listen to that because we know that Beaver loves to dance. Robbie Lakritz, Best Engineered Album, Non-Classical for Feist's Multitudes. Joni Mitchell.
I did see that.
Best Folk Album for Joni Mitchell at Newport Live. Remember, we showed a clip of that when Brandy Carlisle, everyone, and then she decided that she wanted to do a concert the next day. So,
which was a big, huge surprise and shock to everyone, because nobody expected that.
Exactly. William Shatner, folks.
Oh my God.
Best Audiobook. He's got a voice. He's got that voice for narration.
His version of Common People.
Yes.
With Joe. Joe.
Is that the guy from the White Stripes?
No.
Oh, okay.
Joe. His most famous album was called Stepping Out. Joe. Can't think of his last name right now. He's from the UK. I think he might be Irish. I don't want to screw that up, but Joe. I can see his face. I can't think of his surname right now. Anyway, he sang the chorus.
Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson. Thank you. Wow, I was blanking.
I know, me too.
I wanted to say Clarkson, but I knew that was wrong. I had the son part right though. Joe Jackson sang the chorus for that, and it was. I thought it was better than the original version. To be honest with you, I liked it better than the original version, and I still do, because his Shatner's narration. She came from Greece. Like the way he did it, it was really cool. And then Joe Jackson sang like I've never heard him sing before. It's my favorite version of the song. And I think he won a Grammy for that too. I could be wrong.
Could be.
But I think he did.
I'll look it up later.
Okay.
So William Shatner, Best Audiobook, Narration, and Storytelling Recording for Boldly Go, Reflections on a Life of Awe and Wonder. So it might be his own material rather than somebody else's that he read this time, that he narrated. The band Spirit Box got a nomination for Best Metal Performance for their song Jaded. Rufus Wainwright got a nomination for Best Folk Album for Folkocracy. And finally, Ben Wendell got Best Contemporary Instrumental Album nomination for his album All One. So lots of nominations, just not in the big categories. And I said one of the most nominated people this year is a producer. Surbanganea, a name you've probably never heard. But there you go. Canadians who make us proud. So, yeah. Well, I'll include a link here for you, Mr. Grizzly, so you can put the article up in the chat for the kids. Because one of the things I like to do, because I like music, but I don't have a lot of time to discover new music. When the Grammy Awards come out, I usually take the songs, and then just try to go listen to stuff. And then most of it ends up becoming my playlist for the next year. Because might as well go for the quality stuff, right? If you don't have a lot of time to search.
Little lighthearted humor clip for
Yes,
you
please.
here. So this is from September 15th, our show. It was on Dean's Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to scroll down. Giancarlo Marcelli lasted 3 seconds and wanted to barf. 3 seconds, eh? That's what she said. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
I guess he didn't like our intro music.
Yeah, exactly.
The first 3 seconds is the boom.
That's the
boom,
first
boom,
3 seconds.
boom, boom, boom. Hey, he doesn't like to get down to these sick beats. I guess he should have stayed for the content. Maybe he would have liked the content better than the music. But 3 seconds is enough to get a view, right?
30. He said 3.
3. Oh, okay. Darn.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I still think it's funny.
I got through 3 seconds. Blah. It's like, dude, in 3. Come on.
That's what she said.
On. I know. It's like, it's so not serious. Oh, man. All right. Let's see. What else do we have for you today? Oh, yes. A little bit more Canadians who make us proud. I wanted to mention this early in the week, but we've had shorter shows. Where did you go? Where did you go?
I don't know.
Did a whole... No, there it is. I was going to go, the whole window didn't disappear. We were talked about the Billie Jean King Cup. Okay, Canadians did well. That wasn't all Canadians had done that week. On the same weekend as women were doing that, becoming the world champions, Juan Carlos Aguilar and Justin Boulay, who was just at the Pan Am Games representing us, became the first Canadian champions at the 2023 Calgary National Bank Challenger. So they won in doubles together. And then Boulay individually won the title in Edmonton the week before. So after coming back from the Pan Am Games, he is doing really, really, really well. And then I believe that Stacey Fung, who we talked about early in the year, and I think she might have been injured, but came back and was in the final as well. I don't believe that she had won in that one, but she had made the final. And then a man named Liam Drexel, who's turning pro because he played for the University of Kentucky for a while, but I think now he's graduated, advanced to the final of an ATP Challenger and ended up winning the whole thing. There was, I think, on the weekend, in addition to the winning the cup, Canadians around the world won 3 other tournaments and were finalists in 2 others. When we say Canada is tennis, we're not kidding. So congratulations to all of them. And our golfers have also been really, really, really just tearing it up lately. Last weekend, I think we had 3 of them finish in the top 10 in various tournaments. We had a guy named Taylor Pendrith, who had finished 8th at the PGA Tour event at the Bermuda Championship, which was a pretty big result. We had a guy named Richard T. Lee, who was finished tied for 3rd at the Asian Tour stop on the Hong Kong Open. And right now, the tournament he's playing, he's actually 2nd, so he's on a tear at the moment. And then another guy named Stephen Ames, who won a few PGA titles back in the day, who's now playing on the Champions Tour, finished in 2nd place on the Champions Tour at the Charles Schwab Cup Championship. Again, all on the same weekend. Don't know what's in the water, Canadian athletes, but wow. I'm very, 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 very proud. And
Yes,
as we
indeed.
know, the Parapan games are happening. So we have the Pan Am games, and then we have the games for the Pan American, our para athletes also at the Pan Ams. And those games start in 11 hours. And our good friend Devin
Is there to
is
cover?
already there. Yep, is there to cover them. So he's going to bring you the stories. So please take some time over the next few days between November 17th and the 26th to support our para athletes who will be out there doing us proud as well. Right.
I've got a couple of things here that Tavi G sent me about the province of Alberta and what is happening there right now. Dr. Illy Pham Squid, MD, at ILY_doc. Alberta friends, watch out as your access to abortion is eroded under the UCP as they empathize.
Okay. Empathize, probably.
No, well, yeah,
Or emphasize?
I think it's just a misspelling.
Okay.
Faith-based healthcare and Christian values. Let me put this on the screen for you.
Oh,
here.
yes, faith-based healthcare. Yeah.
Adriana Lagrange, Christian Health Association of Alberta, CHAA, has been serving Alberta as a not-for-profit faith-based care provider for 80 years. Thank you for supporting the refocusing of Alberta's healthcare system and for the important role you play in our healthcare system.
Are they supposed to be playing a role in our healthcare system?
We're excited to showcase the quality and innovation that Albertans expect from our not-for-profit facilities and programs. Leah, Lechelt, Lechelt or Lechelt, I don't know. Executive Director, Christian Health Association of Alberta. Lethbridge, a city of over 100,000 people, already has no access to abortions. I just don't know. I just don't know what to say sometimes. And then, of course, there's this thing. I read this and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to repeat it. I really don't. I'll send you the link. It's just so horrible. I don't want to read it. Like I don't want to read it because it's so disgusting. It's a Danielle Smith thing, and I'll send you the link. You decide what you want to do with it, or because I cannot abide. I read it to myself, and I don't want to repeat it because it's just horrible. It's just horrible. It's more of what I expect from Danielle Smith. Something that I have no desire to read it because it disgusts me to no end. It deals with mass graves, residential schools, and denying that they are a thing. And I just can't. Sorry, it's too much for me. Some things I cannot stomach, and this is one. We're talking about children. I just can't stomach this letter, this post from Danielle Smith, reinforcing all of the hatred and anger and all the horrible things, just denying that the victims exist, denying that those children are buried in mass graves. And I just can't read it. I'm sorry, I can't. Some things just push me too far, and that's one of them.
Again, just a gentle correction, not mass graves, unmarked graves.
Sorry, right, yes, unmarked. Thank you.
To make that distinction.
Yes, and you're right.
It's your passion, so I just wanted to make sure that that the kids know that we know. Yeah, send it to me. I'll take a look at it. And see
I did. I just sent it to you in a DM and on the Twitter.
Oh, okay, on DM. Okay, I was looking at for the on our software here from the chat here. I will look at that. The thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is we have I guess, still journalist, but used to be more prominent. Um, used to be the host of Power Play on CTV, and then has stepped aside for Vashi Kapelos to take over. Now, I don't know if he decided to step aside or whether or not he was told he needed to go. But since then, he seems to have been itching for relevancy. And he often has some takes that a lot of people maybe suspected he had when he was hosting the show, because, I mean, a lot of people consider CTV as being conservative television. That's what the C stands for. But since he's just become a contributor, his slip is showing. Let's put it that way. I'm talking about Don Martin, of course. He has one article and a tweet that have come out in the last few days that have had me shaking my head. He wrote an article, an opinion piece called "Life in Trudeau's Brain Defies Imagination." As soon as I saw the headline, I'm like, oh, girl, no. Just no. Because I knew it was going to be bad, because when you start talking about life in someone's brain and speculating like you know what's going on in someone's brain, you have to understand that for me, one of the biggest insults, one of the most violent things you can do to someone without putting your hands on them is when someone says something, the words come out of their mouth, and you take those words and you go, no, that's not what you said. You said this. They shove the words that they needed you to say into your mouth and then claim you said them and then react to that. That's what happened to Kaepernick, for example. I'm taking a knee because I'm protesting police brutality. It took about 3 seconds. The protest to everybody else who was talking about him was about anything else but what he said it was. No, you're not protesting that. I'll tell you what you're protesting. You're protesting this, and you're an awful person for doing that. To me, there's nothing more racist that you can do than take the black words out of a black man's mouth and then stuff your white words in them. And then bash the black guy for saying your white words that you stuffed in his mouth, that he did not say. When you start doing that, now in this case, there's no race thing because Don is also white, but once you start doing that with someone's brain, this is what's in his mind. This is what's in his soul, not only his mouth. I start to have problems with you. Big ones. This one is going to take a bit, kids, so please just bear with me on this one. Oh man. I'm sorry, this one just really, it really does make me mad. First of all, okay. He says, getting inside Justin Trudeau's head these days requires a vivid imagination. The Prime Minister's bizarre statement on the Middle East war this week reflects a distorted view that human-shielded resistance by Hamas terrorists can be overcome with, quote, maximum strength by Israel's military. Okay. Israel must use maximum restraint to overcome Hamas. I'm sorry, not maximum strength. Israel must use maximum restraint to overcome Hamas. Or B, Israel must use maximum restraint to preserve the lives of Palestinian children. Don Martin made a choice to believe the Prime Minister could have possibly have intended A, Israel must use maximum restraint to overcome Hamas. It's not what the Prime Minister said. At all. But he made a choice to understand that. And wrote a whole piece on this, exploring what it is that's going on in his brain, creating a whole fantasy life. This is not normal behavior. This is not normal. Whoever approved that for publication, this is not normal. One has to be a special kind of disingenuous or stupid to assume that the Prime Minister suggested anybody that's an ally to Israel, that Israel should use maximum force maximum restraint to overcome Hamas, rather than use maximum restraint to preserve the lives of innocents, particularly children. And it's not like Don can say, "Oh, but I was young and I needed the money." You're at the other end of your career. I don't know what's in it for this man. Then he continues, quote, "Now, spare some empathy for a prime minister governing a country seething with anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. He's holding a stick of diplomatic dynamite with a fuse lit at both ends, and as he tries to find a way to extinguish the fires, he's being personally hounded and chased." Are we living in a country seething with anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, Mr. Grizzly? I don't know what country he's talking about, but it's not Canada. And that's like that guy the other day that said our streets are overflowing with these protesters, these violent protesters. Like, I don't see any overflowing streets. Continues, Trudeau's troubles are compounded by having his totally over her head Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly regularly flying off script. She diverged from Trudeau's lines to say there must be a humanitarian truce leading towards a ceasefire when Israel negotiations can begin with Hamas. Chances zero. So another person who has taken his cue from Fernando Terrazano's torquing of Joly's words. Andrew Coyne did it. Now Don Martin did it. Because why not throw in a little drive-by misogyny into an article where you're already stuffing intent? I'm just... So, totally over her head, regularly flying off script, leading towards leading towards a ceasefire when Israel negotiations can begin with Hamas. Again, deliberately confusing negotiations to liberate hostages versus negotiations for what the future of Israel will be. In fewer than 280 words, 3 huge tropes in that one paragraph. Eventually, we get to the real article, because there's, in an article, these little subheadings. Trudeau's unpopularity surging. But the Prime Minister's unpopularity is surging on so many other fronts, it's hard to keep track. That's what Don really came here for, right? So that whole thing, what's going on in his head and all that stuff about Palestine and whatnot, he doesn't really care about that. This is the part. So that thing we showed about Rachel Gilmore the other day saying, hey, I understand that you want to write 50 articles about how the Prime Minister's DOA now, but can we have at least one about what the Conservatives are doing? All these homophobic things. Well, there it goes on. Trudeau's unpopularity surging. He then tisks that the leaders of nations that may have ordered the murder of a Canadian citizen on our soil, and leaders of nations that have taken 2 Canadian citizens for hostage diplomacy would not want to meet at APEC with our Prime Minister, is a bad thing. Gee, the fact that leaders of nations who did these terrible things and our Prime Minister stood up to them are still mad at the Prime Minister that he dared stand up to them and embarrass them and therefore don't want to talk to him is a bad thing, according to Don Martin. And then he yammers on about domestic stuff. Okay, how the premiers want this and the carbon tax that. And then he gets into detailing his take on what is Trudeau's alleged, quote, happy world in his mind. And it's a take of such moronic simplicity, you wonder if he suffered pain while composing it. And it's very clear here that his mission here is to paint the Prime Minister some type of himbo. Hasn't worked in 8 years, but he's still trying it. Quote, but incredibly, this multitude of messes, These are the domestic ones. Doesn't seem to faze the 8-year prime minister as he continues to plan for his 4th election victory, even with polls speaking in one voice of a looming conservative landslide. That's why it's so fascinating to watch this government in denial skipping along in Trudeau's happy world. It's a world in which Hamas will free hostages and let humanitarian aid flow in the aftermath of Trudeau's call on Israel to use maximum restraint, setting the stage for a ceasefire and 2-stage negotiations with Hamas. No. Not even remotely close. This is pure fiction. It's a fiscal environment where the deficit size still doesn't matter even as the economy slides into recession. And that's why, and it contradicts this in the next paragraph. A place where a few $billion will end the affordable housing crisis and where $1 billion cut from the armed forces budget won't hurt our military's reputation as a global laggard. So he doesn't want the military to see that through the whole military operation over the next X number of years, whether there's a way to cut $1 billion in spending that might be superfluous or not really needed, as the government is putting more than $1 billion in. The deficit size doesn't matter, but my God, don't take $1 billion from the military. Well, do you want us to deal with a deficit or not? The Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, before doing her last budget, went to everybody and said, for everything that you want to bring me, that you want me to do new, propose 2 things that I can take out. Where's he getting this idea that it's a fiscal environment where the deficit size doesn't matter? It's a world where India will suddenly forgive Canada and cooperate in investigating the murder they stand accused of ordering. Really? Because that's why the Prime Minister, after reaching out through all the diplomatic channels for weeks and months, had to go there personally and have a one-on-one meeting with him and tell him face-to-face, because he believes that India will suddenly forgive Canada and cooperate magically? Really? And of course, only in Trudeau territory will voters soon see things differently and send Liberal approval numbers surging to re-election just in time for the 2025 vote. This is just gratuitously mean and not tethered to any reality. The Prime Minister doesn't believe any of these things. Any of these things. All you have to do is listen to a couple of quote or look at his actions over time. None of this is true. None of this is remotely true. I don't know where he pulled this from. And then he ends with, yes, it's all sunny ways inside Trudeau's brain. Trouble is, it defies imagination. That's the bottom line. No, that's the bottom of the barrel, sir. Can we get a wellness check on Don Martin? And then yesterday, he tweets, as CTV's Judy Trin nicely summed it up, Canada is being cold-shouldered by our 2 biggest trading partners at APEC Summit, even as the US and China try to thaw their own relationship. Justin Trudeau's Canada's back on the world stage boast never sounded emptier. Okay, again, Martin piping in with the opinion that being snubbed by leaders of governments known to practice hostage diplomacy or suspected of extrajudicial killings on foreign soil is a bad thing. Is there anyone for whom the Conservatives just won't roll over and show their bellies for scritches if it's to own a lib? And as for the, even as the US and China try to thaw their own relationship, let's flash back to August 26th, 2023, when Environment and Climate Change Minister Stephen Guilbeault went to China to do just that, attempt to thaw our relationship with China using climate change as the entry point, because that's one thing that China does believe in, is fighting climate change, if only for political reasons, because when you have a country of over 1 billion people who can't breathe, suddenly you don't want them turning on the government, especially if you're not the authoritarian dictatorial government. You know you can't hold 1.5 billion people down all at the same time if they all react at once. So, while Don Martin is saying, gee, the United States is trying to thaw relationships with China, and it's like, we're being snubbed. Isn't it terrible? August, not even 2 months ago, we went. And all of you lost your minds. There's actually a CBC article, August 26, 2023. Guilbeault brushes off opposition's call to cancel China climate trip. Do you want us to thaw relationships with China or not? Because when we tried, you screamed. And now that the US is doing it, you're tisk-tisking the fact that we haven't, or we're being snubbed. When we have. Fewer than 2 months ago. Did you all just fall and done gone bump your heads? Like, the narrative pushers on the conservative side really need to pick a lane. Because right now their position is thawing relations with China is okay, but only when the US does it. And in this whole analysis, Martin, again, who's not young and doesn't need the money and is not his first day on the job, suddenly forgets to remember geopolitics, that the United States is a superpower so big that even China can't snub it for too long without too many bad consequences to it. So China has an interest in actually thawing relationships with the United States. Not so with Canada. We're not that big. China could go on through its whole life without ever having to deal with us ever again. And they probably wouldn't suffer. But they can't do that to the United States. I do not know what is the deal with these people, but clearly, there is a concerted effort going on at the moment within our mainstream conservative media to just paint our prime minister as being incompetent, often la la land, not having his full mind, weak, and of course, an anti-Semite. And from the other side, somebody who doesn't care about dead Palestinian babies at all. None of it is true. If you watch what the Prime Minister does and says versus what conservatives are claiming he's doing and saying, it is very, 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 very obvious. Yes, Kits. I see Miss. I see Kit Saucy saying Mr. Grizzly seems to be busy with someone else. Yes, he's happens to be with a client at the moment, so that's why you've got me all by myself. Well, speak of the Grizz. There you go. Yes, time for a giggle. Botched anthem break. I think that might be a good time for that. Now, this is something. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention before we move to that. We talked earlier in the season about Bruce Springsteen having an album of sort of crooner and soul songs called Only the Strong Survive. He too was nominated for a Grammy in the traditional pop category for the album. So there you go. He already has 20 Grammys, but he hasn't won one since 2010. So we know how award shows sometimes like, rewarding legends who we haven't seen for a while. So I think he might have a good chance of winning that one. And he's in competition against Liz Callaway's To Steve with Love. Liz Callaway celebrates Sondheim, Ricky Lee Jones's Pieces of Treasure, Laufey's Bewitched, and Pentatonic's Holidays Around the World. So there you go. All right. The botched national anthem. Oh, darn. Where is it? I had it. Okay, Mr. Grizzly, I need you to stretch for me. If you're still there, because I can't see you. Oh, but he doesn't have his headphones on. So, okay. All right. While I look for that, I had it up there, but you know me, kids. Sometimes I have too many windows going on, which is the case today because there's so much news. And usually I ask Mr. Grizzly to take over while I can search for things and make it appear seamless for you. So I will go to another story until I can get Mr. Grizzly with headphones. And because I can't see him right now. There we go. Okay. In the United States, Senator Mitt Romney has decided that he will not be running for election again, which in one way, it is time for him to go. He's had a good career, but in another way, considering the state of everything, do we really want the one somewhat moderate, and I mean moderate there is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but it's Overton window moderate when compared to everyone else in his party resigning at this time? Well, it seems that the Democrats are also having their own, because Joe Manchin, who a lot of people would probably not consider much of a Democrat, he also announced that he's not running again. And he's not running again because he feels he can't win. There's a Republican in the state of Virginia named Jim Justice, who seems to be rather beloved in the state, and he has decided to run for the seat. Manchin does not feel he could win because he believes, statewide, it's a blue state, even though the most recent election showed that the House and the Senate, at least in the state legislature, flipped to the Democrats. But he doesn't feel he could win, so he is not running again. Also, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, because new Speaker Mike Johnson is having a whole bunch of problems again because, like Kevin, he made a deal with the Democrats so that the government doesn't shut down for a bit while they're trying to figure themselves out on what they're going to do with the budget or not. Kevin McCarthy is, kept on saying, well, no, he's not running again. But now he's sort of saying, well, listen, I really don't want to run again. But I mean, if you really ask me, and if I get some accountability from the 8 who did this thing to me, I might consider it. Now, the big difference between McCarthy and Johnson is that McCarthy happens to be a rather prolific fundraiser. And as we say often, conservatives always say, no, but they always take the dough, though. So it would seem that the election denier, on which they could all agree, has come face to face with the reality of doing the job. And he's realized that the party is ungovernable. And the knives are already out. So if he goes and they can't agree on anybody else to take the job, and they do have an election coming up, so they need a good fundraiser, Kevin may be back. That party is a mess. Oh, man. Jeez.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Glad. I was wondering if you could chat a little bit, if you've got something, because I'm looking for that national anthem fail for our kids to give a little palate cleanser.
I'm not quite familiar with what that was, but interesting. So I do have something I'm going to share on the screen right now. And this is one of those moments where you go, oh, look at that. Not a drag queen. Via CBC Saskatchewan, Aaron Benowis, a former coach at the Christian Center Academy, has admitted he sexually assaulted a teen student at the school. Benowis pleaded guilty last month to sexual assault and sexual exploitation. How are those pronouns working for them? And the education minister then is the energy minister. See the cock interview with the minister. I bet he figured he'd gotten away with it. It's like yeah. If it's not one thing, it's always another. And that, not a drag queen.
Not a drag queen, not a transgender person. It's always the same thing, isn't it? The day because statistically it's going to happen at some point. The day that it is a drag queen or a transgender, oh, we're never going to hear the end of it.
Oh, no.
You know it.
No.
I guess,
Never
and
gonna
that
hear
one
the-
example
and
will be
you're right,
held up for eternity.
statistically.
Hey,
So
there are serial killers among us too, right? Not all of us are fabulous.
mhm.
So, I mean, right? Bruce MacArthur. Just
Yeah.
saying. But when they find the first one, that person will become the poster child forever, all eternity. They'll be back like 40 years from now. Remember that time back in 2023 when we told you?
Yeah. One example, and they'll hold that up as the only example forever, because that's all they've got to stand on.
Like they do with the blackface photo, for example.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Grizzly, do you have it?
Yes, I
national
do.
anthem?
Sorry, I'm just responding to another message here. Let's have a look at this.
The true north, strong and free. Oh, Canada, we stand arise. We stand on God for thee. God and glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on God for thee. Oh, Canada, we
Just made it up as it went along.
So clearly he's nervous because there was a lot of vibrato there. His voice was shaking. But did you hear the little hum? Almost it was like a little hum from the crowd. It's like, I think the revelation of this video is that there may have been enough hockey games played in the United States, at least in Buffalo, that people recognize when the Canadian anthem has been messed up. There's a little,
yeah.
They know our song well enough to know when it's wrong.
Well, the Sabres are the only U.S. team in the NHL that does the Canadian anthem in addition to the American one because of the city's proximity to the U.S.-Canadian border. Because of this, many fans in the crowd immediately noticed the error. As the anthem was being sung, the broadcast showed various shots of the crowd and players when Kramer made his mistake. He seemed visibly confused by what they just heard. A man holding a child had a puzzled expression on his face before turning to the child and saying something, likely letting the child know what just happened. To the right, another fan turned and looked away from the big screen and looked similarly confused. Behind him, another fan turned to his friend and simply shook his head in disappointment.
Man.
Still, I think the best one was the see if I can find it here for you. "O Canada" to the tune of "O Christmas Tree."
Really? Oh my word. Oh Canada, oh how I love my Canada.
I have it right here. I have it right here. Dennis Park, I guess lounge singer. And he's actually a good singer, but wow, does he butcher this. Just give me a sec here, and I'll have it up for you.
Cassie had the same thought you did.
Pardon?
Kit Cassie had the same thought you did. It's not as bad as the mullet guy in Vegas who sang to the tune of "O Christmas Tree."
Let's fix something here because
I never knew this happened. I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, this is well, just watch.
Oh, football. Oh no.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy son's command. With growing hearts we see thee rise, the true and strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Do this.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Worst
tell me-
version ever.
Please tell me that the person who was originally supposed to do it, like,
No, that
came
was
down
him.
with sudden
Nope.
acute
Nope.
laryngitis 3
Nope.
seconds before.
Nothing
and
like
said,
that.
"There, you're
Nope.
singing this."
Nope, it was him. Scheduled to do it.
Like, nothing
Didn't
about
bother
that
to
was
look
right.
it up. Now, this was like 1992, 91 or 92. So he couldn't just look it up online back then. But he could have, I don't know, gone to the library.
Oh my word! Okay,
Like he just made it up as he went.
but that's the thing, right? I was once asked to sing some national anthems, and one was the national anthem of France. Now, as a French Canadian, you'd think I would know it, right? I know the American one by heart, but really, all I knew was "Allons enfants de la patrie." Na, 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 na. I guess, and I had never even read the words. I mean, there's a scene of it in Casablanca, right, at one point. So I'm thinking, and then I went to read the words, and I was like, oh my word. Like, if you actually read the words to the French national anthem, oh boy. It's not sunny. Let's put it that way. But it's as Kit Hugh goes, it's a rockin' tune. It's fun to sing, though. It's really fun to sing. But I practiced the living daylights out of that because there were people from France coming for a curling tournament.
Like this guy's never heard the song before, ever, clearly.
Yes.
Clearly.
I'm like, we want to welcome them. We want to show them that we cared. So yes, I actually took time to listen to the song before. Oh my. But this one was like, oh my word. It's like the words were wrong. The melody was wrong. There was like 5 or 6 different songs in there.
Yes. Yeah.
The melody kept changing. And of course, that thing that Americans do where they try to add all the stuff to the national anthem to show their vocal prowess. Like you often
Well, he
see
held that last note for about a minute.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's like,
which is not how it goes.
No.
Not even Roger Doucette did that.
Yep. But it's sort of like, it's like, this is my moment. So I'm going to sing all the notes and I'm going to do all the vocal tricks in my version of the Star Spangled Banner. From the land of the free, and all that, everything, right? It's just like, please just sing the song.
Can we not?
Just sing the song.
Yeah, can we not?
Although I have to say, every now and then there's sometimes people do a variation, and like Whitney Houston's.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. That's
dang.
That's the go-to, right? That's the standard, the gold standard.
If you're going to do it, if you're going to innovate, do it right.
Mm-hmm.
But at least let us recognize the melody somewhere in the song.
In strange things that make absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, this is from Global News. The court's decision calls Ottawa's ban on single-use plastics like straws and grocery bags both unreasonable and unconstitutional. What? I don't understand that at all.
I don't know. But let's see what it says here. Of course, people are, Daniel Smith and whatnot are going like, we won. It's like, dude, they're single-use plastics.
Nobody wins.
Like, chill. Right. According to the CBC, Darren Major, a federal court judge has ruled that a federal government decision to list plastic items as toxic was unreasonable and unconstitutional. Quote, in a ruling released Thursday, Justice Angela Furlaneto wrote that the category of plastic manufactured items was too broad to be given a blanket toxicity label under federal law. There's no reasonable apprehension that all listed plastic manufactured items are harmful. The case was brought forward by a group of major industrial players in plastics, including Dow Chemical, Imperial Oil, Nova Chemicals. They argued that Ottawa failed to demonstrate it had enough scientific evidence to justify the regulations. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault said the federal government is reviewing the decision and is strongly considering an appeal. Canadians have been loud and clear that they want action to keep plastic out of our environment. That's what we'll keep fighting for. That's very good, sir. But remember, as we said for all the other things, like when the shoe's on the other foot, you still have to respect the law when creating new law.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that people want it doesn't mean you can cut corners on actually writing a law that's a good law. The move to list plastic items as toxic was a key step that allowed Ottawa to proceed with a ban on some single-use plastic items. Those regulations will prohibit the sale of plastic checkout bags, cutlery, food serviceware, stir sticks, and straws in Canada after December 20th. Now, I'm guessing just by there'll be more in the story here, but I'm guessing by that paragraph, the ruling was too broad to be given. So it's not that banning plastics is unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
Just might have to sharpen their definition.
Right. Which would make sense. It's just the wording of it. Unreasonable and unconstitutional.
So
well, unreasonable, sure.
Yeah. But they are they're celebrating the same way they celebrated the Supreme Court decision on Bill C-69. They ruled it was unconstitutional. We've won. It's like, no, they ruled that 3 specific sections weren't, and they gave guidance to the federal government on what it could do to make the law constitutional, and they said, yeah, we're good with that. We'll do that.
Well,
so the law stays.
Something Dan mentioned earlier, and I every time, because bread ties are now made out of paper, but it still comes in a plastic bag.
Right.
So, really,
yeah.
It's a half measure at best.
Lindsay Beck, a lawyer who acted on behalf of the environmental groups that intervened in the case, called the decision disappointing. Quote, we know that plastic pollution is one of the major environmental crises of our time, and this ruling really hampers the federal government's ability to come to grips with it. Regulating waste management is generally a provincial responsibility. The government is only able to regulate substances for environmental protection if they are listed as toxic under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. So that's the limit, and I'm guessing they can't say just plastics toxic. Single-use plastics toxic. They have to specify which ones and probably for why. Furlaneto wrote that adding a broad category of plastics to the list went beyond the rules of the Act. Quote, not every item within the plastic manufactured items category has the potential to create a reasonable apprehension of harm, Furlaneto wrote. The judge also wrote that Ottawa's decision poses a threat to the balance of federalism because it didn't restrict its regulations to those plastics that have, quote, potential to cause harm to the environment. So basically, rather than blanket listing them all as toxic, you have to look at each one, evaluate their individual toxicity, and then choose the ones that are the most toxic or toxic enough to represent a threat, and then list those. Alberta Premier Daniel Smith and Environment Minister Rebecca Schultz said Ottawa's initial decision to add plastics to the toxic substance list was an example of federal overreach, of course, because plastics are made with petroleum. It's time for the federal government. It's time for the federal government to listen to the courts and to Canadians. Let me do this. We urge them not to appeal this decision and to immediately delete plastic manufactured items from the toxic substance list. Yeah, not going to happen, darling. The case dealt specifically with an order in council that originally added plastic manufactured items to the toxic substance list. Those items were listed as toxic by law after Bill S5 received royal assent in June. Ottawa tried to argue that the judge's ruling will not affect its single-use plastics ban due to S5's passages. While Furlaneto quashed the original order in council, she didn't rule on the constitutional validity of S5.
Well, one of the things that somebody told me not too long ago when they talked about how we're using paper bread ties, I'm like, yeah, they don't work very well. Sure, let's eliminate some plastic. And yeah, it was probably pretty toxic plastic that was being used. They're like, well, what are we going to use? I'm like, twist ties, like you used to get with the garbage bags. But those are plastic. No, but they used to be paper wrapped around steel. Both things are recyclable. So there's your new twist tie, folks.
Mm-hmm.
There's your new twist tie. Recyclable product, number one. And just put them in a wax paper bag, which will, yes, it's going to increase the price. No question, it will. But a wax paper bag always worked. Remember when you'd go to the butcher shop? If you went to the butcher shop, not everybody eats meat, but those of us who do, we used to buy sliced meats, and they would wrap it in that red waxy paper. And didn't put it in a single-use plastic bag. It was in the red waxy paper, and that was good. And when you get home, you'd take it out of the red waxy paper, put that into a bin, and then put it into a plastic container and put it in your fridge. But that plastic container gets used for years.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the single-use ones you get at the dollar store. I'm talking about the old-school teaware ones, right?
Right.
That's how we did it at one point in time. And you're right. Almost all straws were paper in the 70s.
Right.
And I remember that. I remember that well. And the cups you drank out of weren't plastic. They were cardboard with wax.
Right.
Because I used to scrape the wax off because I'm a fidgety person. That's the ADHD. But they were wax paper cups, and they held up well. So all of a sudden, we can't do that anymore. Oh, and by the way, the wax is not beeswax. Where'd that wax come from? Petroleum. Diesel.
Yeah.
Paraffin is diesel. That's a petroleum product. So see, if the oil company was smart, they would start pushing wax-coated paper cups. Just there's a thought.
All right. On the upside for the government on its fight against climate change, according to the CBC's David Thurton, headline, Ottawa's Green Grants program for homeowners is running out of money faster than expected. Which means Canadians are enthusiastic about it.
It certainly seems so, yeah.
Yes. A federal grant program that offers homeowners money to make their homes more energy efficient is running out of money faster than anticipated, alarming homeowners and industry stakeholders who fear the program might end earlier than expected. Or the federal government can say, hey, this thing that we did, it's really great. You love it. Let's do more. Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson confirmed the program is spending its allocated budget quickly because of the high demand for home retrofit grants. He stopped short of saying Natural Resources Canada could abruptly close applications and suggested the program could be extended. Here's my thing about this article right off the bat. We're 2 paragraphs in. It opens, alarming homeowners and industry stakeholders who fear the program might end earlier than expected. The minister suggested the program could be extended. Why not make that the opening paragraph than the one about fear? Why wouldn't it be a federal government program that offers homeowners money to make their homes more energy efficient is running out of money faster than anticipated, which has caused the Minister of Natural Resources, Jonathan Wilkinson, to suggest the program could be extended? Why is not the opening paragraph? And then talk about people having concerns that the program could be closed. It's what you choose to put first. That matters. That's what we call framing.
Yes.
Quote, yes, we've actually started to exhaust the funds earlier than what we had anticipated, and that's largely a function of the popularity of the program, Wilkinson said. The Greener Homes Grant Program, launched by the federal government in 2021, provides homeowners with up to $5,000 for energy efficiency retrofits and home energy evaluations, and up to $600 to help with the cost of home energy evaluations. That's the program that we benefited from to get our heat pump and to do our insulation and to change our electrical panel to 200 amp service and to insulate our house, which is going to happen, and to bring in our new hot water heater that's more energy efficient.
A hot water heater? Why would you heat hot water?
A hot water heater. Sorry. I don't know why I always say hot water heater.
I know everybody does, and I always look at them like, "What? Why would you heat hot water? It's already hot."
I know better.
I know.
I know better.
That's a George Carlin thing that I've had in my head since, I don't know, the early 80s. Everybody get on the plane, get on the plane. No. You can get Travis Pastrana to get on the plane. I'm getting in it. Thank you. I'm getting in it.
Mm-hmm. Now let's see how popular this program is. Homeowners must spend the money up front and then be reimbursed. The $2.6 billion program was supposed to last until 2028, but some suggested the money will run out in 2024.
Wow. So people are using the hell out of that program. That's
Canada
good.
Canada is broken. Everything is broken. No, clearly not.
No, it isn't.
Clearly not. Good government programs and lots of Canadians doing democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Lots. 4 years early? Really? Deanna Burson thought she had until 2028 to apply. She said she's been delaying committing to renovations and signing up for the program as she juggles mortgage payments on her new Ottawa home. Quote, so it's a shock to me, Burson said when the CBC told her the program is burning through cash faster than planned. It would be such a shame because I would love to be more environmentally friendly, but it does come down to what I can afford, what's possible, and the money that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so given this, which is going on with rising interest rates, and wouldn't it be a great election platform thing if we're going early? But even if we're not, we're going at the same time to say this was so popular that we're throwing this much more money in it, and we're expanding it. And that heat pump program in Atlantic Canada, well, it just works so well. Let's do it coast to coast to coast.
But Canada is broken.
Mm-hmm. She called on Ottawa to extend the program given the large number of Canadians struggling with the cost of living. Natural Resources Canada says more than 124,000 applications have received funding through the national portal or co-deliver partners in Quebec, Ontario, and Nova Scotia. The department has paid out over $450 million from the $2.6 billion budgeted already. Wilkinson says heat pumps are the most popular retrofit funded by the program so far. He left the door open to topping up the program with new funds in the next federal budget. There you go. Hadn't even gotten there yet. We have a certain budgetary envelope. We have to exhaust or utilize that envelope before we can ask the Minister of Finance for additional money, Ms. Wilkinson said. Typically, the budgets happen in March or April, but at this stage, we have money for some number of months to be able to actually continue to accept applications. So the money is still there, but based on projections, they're doing modeling and all that kind of stuff. It looks like the fund will be depleted 4 years faster than thought. Brett Copperson, executive director of Durham's Windfall Ecology Center, said one of his staff members attended a meeting in November with NRCan officials and was warned the program could wind down soon. Okay, that NRCan official.
Yeah.
Copperson said the program's current plight feels like deja vu. He pointed out that the previous federal government pulled the plug on a similar popular eco-energy home retrofit program in 2012. Copperson said that, and remind me, Mr. Grizzly, I have a video clip for something related to that.
Okay.
Copperson said that retrofit program led to the emergence of the new firm specializing in decarbonizing homes. History could repeat itself, he warned. We are in a climate emergency and we can't be putting our feet on the brakes. We need to really be accelerating the program, he said. So to end this program prematurely without an immediate replacement would cause significant havoc in the sector. And of course, since the Prime Minister is out there saying with his pilot project in Atlantic Canada that we are doing more, and with that report from Canada's Climate Change and Environmental Commissioner, Mr. DeMarco, who said that we are not on track for 2030, but with a couple of adjustments we would be. All signs are pointing to this being extended, renewed, expanded, even maybe to cover more things. After launching the retrofit program, the Trudeau government announced it would provide up to $10 million in contracts to recruit, train, and mentor 2,000 energy auditors to advise homeowners on energy efficiency. Greenhouse gas emissions from buildings accounted for 13% of Canada's total emissions in 2021, about 87 megatons, making it the third highest source of emissions after oil and gas production and transportation. Canada has vowed its emissions reduction plan to slash emissions from buildings by 37% by 2030 and achieve net zero by 2050. Treble says that if the Greener Homes program abruptly ends, he may not be able to continue his work. Of course, yes, but it won't. It won't end unless the Conservatives win, and that they will end it. Others connected to the energy efficiency industry urge Ontario to refrain from interrupting growth in a nascent clean tech sector, like Alberta did, for example. That includes registered energy auditors and heat pump installers. All these people who entered into the sector with the hopes of a better career and livelihoods, I worry that this kind of start and stop funding cycles could put their livelihoods at risk. And that is a valid point. There's always a case for predictable, stable, long-term funding, especially on this. So yeah, the government, who apparently can't do anything right, if we were to listen to Conservatives tell the story, that is, apparently is knocking it out of the park. And here we go. This is the last thing I want to show before we wrap up. We're going to give you a little flashback, kids, to May 29th, 2008, London, England. It's Prime Minister Stephen Harper speaking, addressing the Canada-UK Chamber of Commerce. And our good friend, well, we call him good friend, we still haven't talked to him or met him yet, but Jaro Geisbrecht found this for us.
I can't do anything right now. I'm frozen.
Oh, you're frozen? Okay.
Yeah, completely. I can't adjust anything. I have no control over anything. You can see I'm frozen on screen. You can hear my voice, but I have no control over Restream right now. I don't know what my computer's doing. It's in some sort of mode.
If I play it, can you put it through? Do you still have that, or nothing's happening?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
That's the best thing I can give you.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll try it. Let's see if it works. Okay, this would be the window.
Because right now everything is frozen for me. So.
Okay. I'll assume that the kids can hear it. It's 30 seconds.
I don't see or hear anything. Yeah, my computer's completely frozen right now. And I don't know why, because it's not even running at a crazy speed.
Okay, but you're talking over the clip, so I'm guessing nobody can hear it?
No, there is no clip. That's what I'm saying. There's no clip.
I know.
There.
I was playing the audio.
I have the clip.
Okay. There we go.
Give me a second here. Just a second while I do this. I don't know what my computer was doing there for a minute. It just acted really strange. Okay. And let's see if it will work. Come on. Here we go.
Apparently,
take a second.
Okay.
I should mention that while our plan will effectively establish a price on carbon of $65 a ton, growing to that rate over the next decade, our plan will compel industry not just to pay for their carbon emissions, but to actually reduce them. Industry has told us they want and they need certainty. Our framework provides that, clear targets, realistic timelines, fair across-the-board application. Now industry knows what they need to do and when they need to do it.
Long-term predictable thing for... Now, this was in 2009, and he said it would be at $65 a ton by the end of the... Well, I'm guessing probably the next decade, I'm guessing. So by the end of the 2010s. You want to know what the current carbon price is? In 2023? $65 per ton.
Interesting.
We are 13 years later at $65 a ton. Harper thought we'd be there in 2019. And conservatives are still screaming. It was their idea. Like the TMX.
Yeah, and there was no rebate program for Canadians with that idea.
And it was a literal tax grab then.
Yeah. But now we're going to axe the tax. You mean the thing you came up with? So the thing you decided was a thing that you should do, which was good for us, you're not doing anymore.
So here's my hypothesis. They have no problem with carbon pricing at all.
Mm-hmm.
They have problems with the rebates.
With rebates, I truly believe it's the rebate that bothers them.
Great minds, Kit Tabby. You have exceptionally good taste. So, yeah. Hey, Douglas, don't throw their own accomplishments in their face like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
Kids. Oh, and apparently, Mr. Grizzly, you have a beautiful freeze face.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
A nice freeze face. Kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you because sharing is caring. Please tell everybody about us. Because your word of mouth is priceless. If you would like to write to us, our email address is truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Please do let us know what you think. Let us send us some comments if you've got some topics. If you want to let us know what you're doing as democracy, so that we can share it with kids and offer some motivation. We want to hear it all. Good things going on in your life. Let us know. It doesn't matter. We just want to know what's going on with you and what you care about. So please write to us. If you would like to subscribe and make sure that you do not miss an episode whatsoever, you scan that QR code right there that Mr. Grizzly put up. That's right by my chin, or right under my chin right now. And that brings you to our pod page, which is sponsored very generously by the Ray Girl. Thank you very much. So that's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, with a hyphen between each one of those words. And that's where you will make sure that you do not have to miss an episode. As soon as it's fresh off the bandwidth, it comes right to you. If you like subscribing, make like Kit Elaine and go to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. And there we have 3 buttons for you to smash: like, share, subscribe. And if you would like to help us with our other 3 favorite words, free beer today, well then, the squiggly to which Mr. Grizzly is pointing right there. Man, that man can point. That bear can point. I tell you, that brings you to our tip jar at our coffee page. That's coffee spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And the emergency hydration fund is there. So a generous donation from you can make sure that we remain moist in order to bring you such wonderful content. And there's a little QR code also to get to the Crier Media if you'd like to go there and see what's going on there, because of course all our other co-podcast hosts who have great shows, like Kit James, who and Dean, of course, and Mercedes with her show, and
dropping in,
and did Will. So great shows, and listen, there's I think well over 100 shows now on the network. I think we're Canada's largest content provider in terms of podcasts. So there's lots of you to discover. Oh, and make sure you check out our good friend Joe Williamson as well. He's got, and Marianne Iverson, everyone. So yes, please go there. There's lots of content for you. Let's see, what else do we have? We had the like, share, subscribe. I guess that's because democracy is something that you do. Go get your XBB shots. Go get your flu shots. Let's do our bit to keep our hospitals unclogged as respiratory season gets more prevalent. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Wow. I'm going to go back to the well for this one that I've been kind of going with all week, because the news has been overwhelming and there's so much darkness on the edge of town. That's a Bruce Springsteen album. Try and find some light today. Give yourself a break if you need to. Show some gratitude where it is necessary and needed. And when you show gratitude, it gives back to you. So take some time for yourself today. And if you can on this weekend, I'm off to Pembroke tomorrow for a 60th birthday.
Ooh.
And we're going to go up and see some friends we haven't seen in a while. So yeah, take some time for yourself this weekend. And if you need to today, please do so.
Happy 60th birthday to whomever celebrating. And
All
Mr.
right.
Grizzly, roll them credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Okay, kids, do not forget, it's Grey Cup weekend, the Owls versus the Bombers. So make sure you tune into that. All right. Oh, we have Mademoiselle Fox.
Hi, I thought the show was over. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just go clean the kitchen or something.
No, this is our Easter egg. We always do this post credits.
Now we do have Pretty in Pink.
Well, I thought I was going to tell my Snoop Dogg story, but it's longer. It can wait. I was supposed to go see Pussy Riot at Blues Fest. I ended up on stage with Snoop Dogg instead.
What? Okay, no, come on, go. Tell me.
Okay, you want that one?
Do we have
tell
time?
the story. Yeah, we have time.
All right.
If you have time. Okay. So Pussy Riot, which is an feminist art group and music performers who were two of the members were put in jail in Russia. So I was going to Blues Fest. I'm like, one of my friends who's named Jennifer. I have about 16 of them. This is Jennifer Ann with red hair, tiny lady, fiery. Anyway, so I'm like, you go see Snoop Dogg and we'll go see Wu-Tang Clan together. And then I'm going to go to Pussy Riot because I'm a super hardcore feminist. And you're going to go see Snoop Dogg because that's what you want to do. It's your 50th birthday. And then, so we go and she bids on a thing to go in a box above the stage for Wu-Tang Clan. She puts in like $200 and then a massive storm came in and everybody runs to the side and they were going to cancel. We weren't sure if they were going to cancel. And then they decided, no, the storm's passed. It's going to go. And she gets a text saying, yeah, you won. So you can come on up to the stage right now, like run, and you go in the box and you can watch Wu-Tang Clan. And we're like, what? So we just sprint to this. We go up, we go in this box. They're like, you cannot have a bottle of water. You cannot have any, like there are rules like to keep the performers safe. So we watch Wu-Tang Clan from up there and Kanon. And then the guy who's running the box comes up to us and because we're like, oh yeah, I guess it's time to go. And he's like, if you want, you can stay for Snoop Dogg. We're like, okay. And he's like, there's only one condition. Kanon and Wu-Tang Clan want to come up to the box to watch Snoop Dogg too. So I actually have a video of it. This is not a lie. And Jen and I were just these tiny white ladies looking at each other going like, so we got to watch it from up in this box. And I can tell you that the women who are on the poles have excellent waxing. Top level and phenomenal dancing.
They got a Brazilian
really
and a Colombian
athletic.
and a Venezuelan. And
Like, it was an incredible performance. And I watched the crowd. Oh my God, I would never have wanted to be in that crowd. I watched these huge bouncers. Just people would put their hands up because they were getting crushed, and they would go and they would just pull them out, And I'm just like, this is the wildest thing. And Jen and I just kept looking at each other, going,
I was at that show, but I was way in the back. I would not get close. It was just crap.
It
Well, to
was
begin with,
wild.
I'm allergic to cannabis, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, you would have
I
been
could
at the
see the
wrong
cloud
place
of
for that.
smoke. So I was way in the back. Yeah. Oh no, it's like once they turned on the lights to see the crowd, it's like, where'd the stage go? Like it's just smoke.
It's wild. So I can never go to Blues Fest again. And I'm just like, I was supposed to go to Pussy Riot. I ended up on stage with Wu-Tang, Kane well, not on stage, but in the box, and watching Snoop Dogg. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. But it was a great 50th. Jen and I always have crazy stuff always happens to us.
Indeed.
So that's my Snoop Dogg story.
Oh my God! See, your story is better than mine. I was gonna have one, but mine is simple.
That takes the
That
cake.
takes the cake. I was rewarded, a belated reward for having done the right thing.
Mm.
Remember when we did the episode with Rosemary Doyle about the play Blood River?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd got the invitation to go the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next day was the last day that the Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert movie was playing anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was a very limited engagement.
And
right?
I really wanted to see it. And then our choir director also says, oh, yeah, we need to have a bonus choir rehearsal at the exact same time. And they're like, I've got 3 things I want to do. I can only do 2. Now, if I go see the Taylor Swift movie this afternoon, I can see the movie before it goes and still go to choir practice. But tomorrow morning when we do Blood River, I will not have seen the play.
Right.
Talking about it. It would have made for a less engaging interview. So I did the right thing by the show. And I went to see Blood River. And then I went to choir practice. And I said, I'm not going to see the movie. Yesterday, they announced 3 more screenings.
So you get to see the movie.
I got to
do the
all
right
3.
thing and you get rewarded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the moment, make the right choice, do the right thing. It sometimes works out.
Karma pays
You can't
off.
do it all at once, but sometimes the world changes that you can do it all.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
story.
true.
But yours is way cooler. Because unless Taylor Swift actually shows up to the theater to watch it and is like sitting beside me and we're sharing popcorn, my story's not going to beat yours.
Your story's really good too. And I'll just, if anyone, I know people are still listening, but thanks, Douglas. Pussy Riot just was in Indiana, and they went to a protest for the Indiana is the first state to introduce new abortion restrictions since the overturning of since the Supreme Court overturned the opposition to Roe versus Wade. So they inflated a 10-foot vagina.
Of course they did.
And blew pink smoke out of it. And I'm just like, I just found that out this morning. I just was like,
the puss is on fire. We don't need
Oh, yeah, Douglas.
That's too much for me.
Oh, no, I don't know what that means, too much.
I'm out.
It's the puss.
See ya.
The puss is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the burn. No, don't burn the